controlling Mr. Dark for the duration of this particular session.
I'm
Along,
Speak like
really
him.
looking forward to you trying to play that character.
The
well,
defenders of darkness.
I will do my best, but I'm
I'm
also
sure you'll do
juggling.
great.
I'm also juggling a kobold, a sea elf, Oceanus, and any and all NPCs and or bad guys that you may come across. So, Dimitri may be a little passive today,
Well, but like,
but I will do my best all the same.
but remember
A
the
piece of cake for
situation
a
when
defender of
we're
darkness.
hiding from three lizard folk coming towards us, but they rolled really low perception, so apparently we are hiding.
Yeah,
And there's only four of us in that situation.
this is true. This is true. Uh, I'll do my best to have him interact as much as possible, but he may be a little bit more passive than usual. Also, just a heads up, I was fine until a little bit ago, but I'm actually starting to feel a little bit under the weather. Think I may have gotten a little bit of food poisoning from my lunch or something. So might not have the same energy level as usual, but I'm gonna do my best, guys. So just bear with me, okay?
That's actually the same with me. Yeah, I ate some frozen wings earlier and it's not sitting well.
Yeah, not fun.
Well,
Not
I
fun.
just went around here thinking it was a cold since that's fun, but
No, it's not cold, unfortunately. But all the same, though, if we're all logged into Rule 20 and good to go, we can get started if you guys like.
Hello.
I'll be right back. I gotta take care of the base.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. So, okay, see you in a bit. Alrighty. So, when last we left our heroes, uh, the legendary
Hello.
Scions of Darkness,
Alright.
having formally completed their written agreement with the city of Saltmarsh as well as the kingdom of Keelan, were given their first official task to move into the whole cool marshes nearby the Dunwater River, where it empties into the Azure Sea, to investigate the new landing. Under the suspicions that they may pose a threat to the town, having found some suspiciously advanced weaponry aboard the pirate ship, apparently en route to said lizard folk. Weaponry far more sophisticated than lizard folk are known to typically use, leading Ada Owland and Eleander Firebrand of the town council to believe that they may be preparing for an assault or some other sort of threat. So they sent you in to investigate, to find out what their intentions are. You weren't told to be aggressive necessarily, or that you needed to go in and slaughter everything, but to find out what the situation is. Of course, to defend yourselves if necessary too.
I have a
But
feeling this is not gonna go well.
that's entirely up
At
to
least
your
not
guys'
like they
actions.
wanted.
It's entirely up to your actions.
I'm not good at negotiating.
We'll see how this
Not
all
even a
pans
sword.
out. So this was sort of a fact-finding, possibly diplomatic mission, but also told to defend yourselves if necessary. Along the way, you met a strange, eccentric, gnomish wizard and had a encounter with some quicksand, as well as a fierce battle in the swamps with a group of bullywugs. After defeating all of those threats and making your way comically across the Dunwater River, with several mishaps there, you found yourselves in the swamp, facing the large rocky promontory with the vast cave opening into the darkness of what you assume, based on the map you had been given, to be the lizard folk lair. After skulking about for a while, checking the perimeter, you did in fact see a group of lizard folk with weapons, perhaps a patrol of guards, who had left from up around, if you're all on the same map as me
I
here,
think someone's fighting the helicopter.
somewhere around this way. They'd come along,
Nice.
and
Near our
just
base.
through sheer luck, they got distracted by a bird flying by and tried to hit it down with their slings to bring it home, apparently for lunch or dinner or something. Right as they were passing where you were hiding in the low bush and weeds, through some sort of providence, they didn't see you, and they continued on their way towards the Dunwater River, and it appeared as though that they were following the river in sort of this direction away from you here. And that is where we left off. You guys had just barely managed to avoid detection. Myra having jumped into the water, and the rest of you staying low near the rocks and the brush and the small bits of tree and things nearby the rocky outcrop. So, what are you all doing at this time?
I mean, I'm still observing the cave entrance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nothing seems to have happened in the interim so far. The cave entrance is still pretty dark. Nothing seems to have come in or out of it in the short time you guys have been here. Gardane.
I'm gonna like walk around over this way, just
Okay.
to see if I can see anything past. Like maybe come up, take you out here to see if there's anything down this way.
Okay.
Just farther away over here.
So
Oh,
the
it
scale
all-
here. So the scale here, just to give you like an idea, from this point here, right in the middle of that ping, to about
Yeah.
this point here, is roughly about like 200 feet.
Oh.
So that's kind of the scale you're looking at here. These squares aren't like 5-foot squares. This is a larger scale.
Okay,
You're
so that's
everything.
really far away.
So it's pretty far. How far up this
Hey,
little path
Spaghetti
do you
Boy.
want to go?
Unfortunately,
Well,
I forgot I had a
wanted to
D&D session
Get
tonight.
to a point where I could see past the black line.
Okay.
But I
So
might
you
play
would
Rust
probably,
after this.
given
My
the
two
draw
buddies are
distance
playing,
here,
so.
you'd probably need to go like all the way over to here. Do you want to move that far? It'll take you a little bit of time. You'll be exposed a little bit. You can see the waves crashing in from the ocean as the water from the dun water
Well,
continues to flow out into it
about
here.
3 hours.
Hmm. 200 feet.
Yeah,
It's
like
really
from
far.
here to here is about 200 feet.
I say we explore it, and I'll follow. Like, if I see you guys go around the corner,
Yeah.
I'm gonna scurry across and join you.
Okay, so this is pretty far away from you as well.
All right,
Guardian.
Spaghetti Boy.
Your friends
Thanks.
are probably at least a good 300 or more feet away from you, based on the distances here.
Can I see them?
You probably saw them scurrying to try and like get into the bushes and things as that guard patrol came down, and you definitely saw the guard patrol of lizard folk as they made their way towards the river here.
Yeah, if they're making their way around the river, like, I'm gonna start making my way towards the friends to avoid them seeing me down here also.
Okay. Oceanus, Meepo, and of course your little pseudo-dragon friend who is perched on your shoulder at present all join you as you make your way back across here. We'll go ahead and move you guys all the way over here with your friends. You gave your pseudo-dragon a name, right? What was that?
Kada.
Kada. All right, so Kada is perched on your shoulder here. She seems excited, almost, a little bit. You're getting sort of this vibe that she's excited about something. She's sort of moving around, fidgeting a bit on your shoulder a bit.
I think she's trying to tell us something, like, almost like she knows where she's at.
So you do recall, I will say this, Guardian, you do recall that this pseudo-dragon did belong to the lizard folk that were on the ship.
Right. So we could almost use her as our guiding hand.
I'm gonna start going around the bend.
Okay.
Go over here.
I guess Dimitri will follow along with you. Is everybody else going to come as well, trailing with Ashari?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you guys can go ahead and move your tokens as well if you want. Show me where you want to get to, Ashari. And as you're doing so, I'd like you to give me a stealth check if you're trying to be sneaky. Otherwise, if you just give me a perception check to see what you see as you're approaching here. Your choice. Either you're stealthing or you're searching.
1 second. I forgot to open the lovely. What in the world?
Something.
Oh, okay. That was weird. Sorry. my thing popped up. It was like on spells, and I'm like, I don't have spells. So I was
That's
confused
okay.
for a second.
Yeah, I just got to go to the main page on your sheet.
Yeah. Perception.
Perception if you want to search as you're going. Stealth if you're trying to be sneaky.
Not necessarily trying to be sneaky since the guards already went by.
All right, so give me a perception check, and we'll see what you see.
Oh. 15.
15. All right, so you would need to go a little bit further here. So I'm going to go ahead and move you guys a little bit further along here. But this is what you're going to see basically with a 15 when you get around to about here, we'll say. The rest of the group is here with you too. Okay.
Myra, you coming?
There we go.
Yeah, I'm having some internet issues, but yes, I am also coming.
Awesome. So you guys can see this dotted line, correct?
Yeah.
Along here? Okay. So this sort of dotted line does sort of mark an actual trail. It seems to be fairly well worn as you're passing through here. You don't see anything along sort of the rock side here as you're passing by, just the normal brush and vegetation, bits of mud and water of the marsh that you've become accustomed to here. But as you come around sort of this corner, this bend here, you can see a little bit further. And you see that there appears to be a little bit of a lead up on the side of the rock face leading to what appears to be another cave entrance here. Much smaller than the one that you saw on the other side. But you can kind of see right here, the trail leads up in this direction. It seems pretty dark up into the cave itself, and you don't see anything or anyone standing directly outside of it at the moment.
Maybe we should move like over here and watch the cave entrance for a bit.
I like that.
Or we could just, run in there.
Just
walk in
Leroy
with
Jenkins
confidence,
right in there.
Pretend we're supposed to be there. Yeah, just if you do anything with confidence, nobody will question you. Just saying.
Other than the fact none of us are lizard folk.
Minor detail, okay? Minor detail.
Dimitri strikes a pose. It seems easy to assume that those guards came through this cave.
I love it. Okay. I agree with him.
There could be more waiting.
I'm gonna make my way over this way.
All right, yeah, sure. So you make your way to the other side. And there is sort of like this little bit of the rock that rises up that sort of provides some cover from the entrance to this cave here. So if you did sort of post up right there, you could probably peek from around the corner. Are the rest of you going to join him over there, or are you going to stay where you're at?
I'm gonna hide
I'll join
in the
him.
water right there again.
Okay, so at this point, like, as you sort of moved up along the side here, it's less of a beach and now kind of more of a bit of a cliff. So it'd be a little bit of a dive, like about 15, 20 feet into the water. You could do it, but then you'd have to like climb back up at this point.
Okay,
It's not
never
a
mind.
hiding spot anymore.
Okay,
See-
fine.
See, like before, when you're back over there, that was still more where the river was emptying out, and so it was still relatively level with ground level. But over here, it's kind of gotten more craggy and sort of a sheer rock face.
Is there anything
Oh.
right where I'm at, like, that kind of would like block the view, like the view of me from there?
There's not a lot of vegetation or anything here. You can hug the side of the rock, but you don't think it's going to give you a lot of cover per se. It does sort of look
Just
like the
how
best
I'm
place.
gonna be able to fit over here.
Yeah, there isn't a lot of, well, again, the scale here is much bigger, remember? So one of these
Oh yeah.
one of these squares could actually probably hold all of you, given the actual scale here. It's just that your tokens don't go much smaller.
If
Oh,
they were much
stand
smaller,
next
we
to
wouldn't be able to
Gardan.
hold them.
Yeah. So, like, you could all technically crowd around this corner here.
Yeah, I'm
It's
gonna
just that the
scurry
scale of the
across.
map is off. Okay. Anybody else want to go over there with Gardane?
I will.
Okay. All right. So we'll say
Begrudgingly go.
Come on, Meepo.
that seems to be the consensus. So I'll just kind of pack you all over here. This isn't your exact positions, but you're sort of crowded here around the corner, and you're kind of watching this entrance, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so who is actually watching around? Because it'd be kind of hard for more than one person to do this sort of peeking around thing. Who wants to take the point on this and watch the entrance?
Gardan.
I can.
Okay, so
I'm
Gardane.
pretty short
I
too.
have really good. I have really good perception.
Okay, you can if you want.
So Varys, you step up, you sort of push the dwarf aside. I got this, and you're watching the entrance while trying to conceal yourself from it as well. How long do you want to sit here and wait, looking and watching?
Mm,
I would say at least
I don't
an
know.
hour.
yeah, 1 to 2 hours. Let's go with 2.
Okay, that's a pretty decent chunk of time. Given that this is a fairly good hiding spot, and just the angle from the cave entrance sort of gives you a good amount of cover, I'm going to ask for 2 rolls from you, Varys. I'm going to want a stealth roll with advantage, because this is a good spot, and then just a general perception check to see what you can observe while you're waiting here and watching the entrance.
Oh, with advantage. Ha ha ha.
All right, so 15. That's not too bad. And then give me a perception check there. 15. Okay. All right. So as you're watching, it takes some time, right? You figure that about maybe a half hour has passed since you saw that first patrol over on the other side of things closer to the river, when you see another similarly composed patrol exit through this gate and follow a similar route out around here. If you wait the full hour, it seems about another half hour passes and you see yet another. You don't see any of the patrols returning this way though, but they all seem to follow this sort of 30-minute pattern, and they don't seem to spot you either based on your stealth roll there.
Okay.
But it seems like a 30-minute interval between these different guard patrols following this route along the coast. You're not sure where they wound up, because none of them are returning this way.
It must be a loop.
I would say we wait for one to exit, so we know we have roughly 30-minute window. We wait for a team to exit, and then we go in the cave behind them.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Let's do that.
All right,
We'll wait one more
so
half hour.
you wait, and you do see yet another patrol pass by. When exactly do you want to make your move?
I would say when they're at
I
least
think
like
when they're-
maybe here or so.
Around the-
Yeah, like 100
Around the bend.
some feet away from us.
Okay, so they get about here when you make your move. Give me stealth checks as you approach the actual entrance to the cave. I need this from everybody.
So I can't, for whatever reason, it's got me stuck on like the information page where it has like our characters and such. It won't let me switch back to the chat. So you guys are gonna have to tell me what I roll.
Oh, I'm sorry, that sucks. Maybe try refreshing and see if that works, or closing and coming back in. But we'll roll for you here.
Did it go through?
Oh yeah, I see your roll.
Yeah, you got an 18.
Yeah.
You got an
Roll
18.
an 18.
Woo,
Not bad,
success.
not bad. Good
Okay.
stuff there. And then
Oh,
I'll roll
it's
for
16, 20, 13, 18.
I'll roll for Dimitri,
Six.
who rolls a 6. Fortunately, because of
Defender
how
of Dark
far
wore his squeaky sneakers today.
yeah, his armor actually is clanking very loudly. But fortunately for you, the DC was really low because of how far away they were. So they don't actually notice you or turn back to see what you're doing here, despite the noise of your friend. And the rest of you pass the check fairly easily, so you kind of cover for him a bit. This is sort of a group check, if you will. And you are able to approach. How close do you want to get, or do you just want to barge right in?
I mean,
I think we should probably stop at the cave entrance and peek in.
Barge in! Let's do it! Sorry.
well, doesn't Dimitri have some sort of spell where he can like shine a light in there?
Dimitri will be like, yes, of course. I can summon the light. And then he casts light, and a little glowing orb appears on his little sword that he carries with him, and it casts a bright light around him. Ask
I
and
can
you shall
also see
receive.
in the dark.
I peek into the cave.
All right. So, Ashari, you approach up to the cave at this
I
entrance
just
here.
peek into it. So that, like, just in case. Just stick my head in for a second. See what's there.
Uh-huh.
I have dark vision, so it's not like the worst thing ever.
Okay. Oh, hold on 1 second here. So, as you approach this particular point, I need to reveal another section of the map here for you. So you're going to be off of that main map. You're going to need to go to the left here, and I'm revealing a new section of the map. Just a small little bit. And this is kind of, can you see the section that I revealed here? If you zoom all the way out, you should be able to see where I'm pinging.
Yep.
So this is actually where you're at now, and I'm going to go ahead and move your tokens over there. So let's grab all y'alls. Drag you up this way.
Now I'm assuming this is in 5x5.
So now all of the big squares are 10.
10.
And the smaller squares that you can kind of move within are 5 foot.
Okay.
Okay. So you can zoom in now and it'll be a little bit more to scale as opposed to that outside map. Okay. Meepo seems to be getting a little nervous. Be like, "Is we go inside? Yes."
Is this a door?
Yeah, it looks like we've got a little bit of a door here. Let's actually jump to that here. Yeah, as you get closer, the cave kind of overhangs this door a little bit, so the darkness kind of shadows it at first.
Hello?
But shrubs and some tall grasses conceal a large, stout wooden door in front of you.
A while ago. Melon.
Almost seemed easier.
What is it?
Of all things, the other caves seemed easier now.
I'll be right back.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
look at the door.
the other cave didn't have guards coming out of it every 30 minutes.
True. Very true.
I want to test the door and see if it's unlocked.
So, Varys, you go up to it. Are you trying to be quiet at all, or are you just going for it?
No, I went home and slept for like 2 hours and like.
Not stealthy, but not forceful. Like, just kind of
Alright, so
testing it. So medium.
So you push, does nothing, pull, and it comes with a nice, smooth, slight creaking. Not very loud, though. It doesn't appear to be locked at all. And yeah, inside you see this sort of hallway that appears to branch out to what would be your right as you approach, and forward.
Okay, I'm gonna come over to this corner so I can kind of peep around the corner here.
You can hear the sound of voices from around the corner as you even approach it there. Harsh voices in a language you actually do recognize but you don't know. It is the language you've heard Meepo and his
I like your
speak
hair,
many
looks
times
good.
before, Draconic.
Yes.
And they seem to be chattering back and forth in a very conversational way, but you can't make out the words themselves. You want to continue? Going around the corner?
No, I think I'm gonna take that and recognize that Meepo might know this, so I'm gonna scoot back a little bit and try and play telephone to get Meepo
Okay, so you're trying to...
a message to come up here, but to be quiet.
Okay. Meepo will slowly and quietly approach. He stands next to your friend Dimitri and looks to you, and he's like, "What you need?"
Meepo, be quiet. Meepo, I think this is draconic. Can you listen very carefully and see if you understand what they're saying?
Okay, Meepo will creep up closely here and listen for a little bit here. I'm gonna have him do a perception check to see what he hears. He is a -2 to perception.
Oh.
But he rolled okay. So
Okay.
Meepo kind of strains and listens for a bit. And I'll just go ahead and reveal a little bit more because you'd be able to see at least down to here. So
I can see like
you'd be able to at least see a little bit down this way, kind of a thing, and that the hall continues a little bit. It's not super dark or anything, but Meepo sits there and kind of listens, and you can still hear these voices as well if you're listening. But Meepo turns to you after a moment. He says, "Hey, something about food, card game, next patrol start in a few minutes." And he kind of shakes his head, like it seems like they're talking general chatter, general conversation amongst themselves.
Can he tell from which corridor it's coming from?
He sort of, if you ask him that, Gardain, he sort of points in that direction to your right, as it turns over here.
So
you
if
can
we
hear
sneak across and get over here, we might not run into the patrol.
Yeah, I was thinking we could just scuttle across and maybe duck around this corner.
Should we give it a try?
I say yes. I'm not very stealthy though.
You would be able to tell, Varys in particular, since he's right up there with Meepo, that the voices sound very close.
Do it! Let's be sneaky.
Okay, so you're going to try to sneak across and head straight this way?
I'd say we got to try it or we're going to get caught because they're going to start patrolling here soon.
Yep.
Okay.
We could just kill them.
So I'm going to need everybody to give me stealth checks to make it across this hallway unseen and quietly. Please note that if you have any sort of heavy armor or chainmail and stuff, you're going to be at disadvantage. Yes?
Can I use my inspiration?
You can use your inspiration.
I should have used mine also.
Woo!
Ooh!
Ooh! Ooh! Oh! Okay. We got some low rolls here.
I told him we're hack and chop type. Espionage is not
I love this.
not our thing.
This is so great. I love it. Okay, so Dimitri rolls a natural 1, as does Myra.
Is the defender of darkness.
Wow. Okay, so Dimitri and Myra, the two of you sort of try to bolt across at the same time, and you get caught up in each other's legs, and you literally crash and fall right here in the front, in plain sight of a bunch of lizard folk. Like just a huge crash of noise, and now you can see, because you have a better angle, all this stuff here.
What?
As I watch this, I'm pulling my sword out. Like, I've given up on the espionage. We're gonna hack and chop.
Okay, I want to try persuasion. Wait.
Yeah, you're fine.
So
you
yeah.
can persuade all you want. We're breaking into their house.
Can I try this? I'm gonna try.
So first, you do see these lizard folk get up. Some of them are sitting. The room is bare except for like 2 wooden benches set opposite each other against the longer walls. There's a handful of lizard folk, standing at attention,
No, lizard.
ready to move into action, and they all turn their heads at once from what they were doing. It looks like some of them maybe were playing like some sort of rudimentary card game, and they kind of look to you with shocked looks, and they each reach down to grab their weapons and pull them up, and one of them approaches here with a very harsh look on his face and starts talking in Draconic to you. What is that? And pointing at you accusingly. He doesn't seem to be attacking immediately, but he seems perturbed.
Yeah, this is much better than what
I
I
yell,
The other-
Meepo, translate.
Meepo translate. And Meepo says, he say, why are you here? Leave now!
We say
We're here because you brought us here, right, Meepo?
no. We're here because we heard they want to trade in weapons and goods.
These ones are approaching more, all of them brandishing their weapons at this point.
They're in a
Uh,
big
You see this.
Translate what Guardian just said.
It's
Guardian.
easy enough.
10.
It's easy enough to see that this one at the back hesitates for a second. He says something, and the one at the front turns back to him and replies in Draconic. And then this one here begins running this way. And this one again steps forward. He holds out his weapon, and he says, "Haraza, hakaza." And Meepo says, "He very angry. Wants us to leave now or drop weapons."
Okay, well, no. Let's say we know about the ship with the weapons, and that got captured, and we heard they want to trade in weapons and stuff, and we're here to talk to them about that.
So you're trying to get Meepo to say that to him?
Sure.
Okay. So Meepo tries to interpret that and tries to translate this in Draconic to these lizard folk in front of them. I'm gonna have Meepo do a persuasion check with disadvantage given the current circumstances.
Yeah, this is definitely better.
So
Thank
let's
you.
see how that goes.
Well, I was supposed to be here a lot sooner, so I'm sorry that
No, it's
you
fine.
guys
Rolled a
desperate
1.
had to.
Whew. Yay! All right. As
So you're not
Meepo is
working
trying
with
to say
Oh.
this, the head lizard folk charges up to him with his weapon and swings at Meepo. And we're going to be entering initiative after Meepo takes a hit from this lizard folk. They are not happy that you just entered their home in this unannounced way.
Nice.
I told you all we should have listened to Ashari, you know. I was trying to say it from the beginning.
It's fine.
Just kidding, sorry.
The 11th.
We should just attack.
Rolls a 16 for 4 bludgeoning damage, and Meepo looks like he's about to fall to the ground.
What?
Said I do
Hey,
it this Monday, but
at
I'm
least
off
it's
the
only
next
4. He's only got 7 hit points.
Yeah. The football.
Watch the football.
The foosball.
Alrighty.
Well,
Roll initiative.
let me plug this in.
5.
Yeah, I didn't roll too well either.
I have a feeling
So
we're
we'll do
probably
a couple
gonna die.
initiative rolls for the lizard folk.
Whew. Man, I don't understand.
Alrighty.
Freaking HVAC
It's hot
system.
up here. I'm like
Yeah,
sitting here
because
like, ugh.
well, I told it to be away, so I don't know why it's. See, it's supposed to be.
Give me
on
just a
away
second,
right now,
guys. Sorry.
but it's still on.
Is it because I walked downstairs and it like the sensors
No,
are
when I tell it to be away, that means it's supposed to be away.
away until the sensor goes off?
No, until I tell it not to be away.
None of us are rolling well today.
I'm just turning it off.
I love that the headlong approach, guys. It's great. It makes things interesting, if nothing else. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Uh,
There we go.
the 2 natural ones on the stealth roll just kills me. I love it. I absolutely love it. Alright, so another dex roll there for this one. Okay, so that's there.
Just gonna have to stick
We all
wires
rolled really
on
low
there.
initiative too.
Nice.
Jessica, you rolled a 9.
I know. I can't seem to get into attack.
Ah,
Sorry.
you got back to the chat, but nothing else.
Should have a good nap.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. There we go. All right. So as we enter initiative, it is Dimitri's turn first. He will pick himself up off the ground as all of this happened fairly quickly over the course of a few seconds. Gets up from prone, and he's going to just quickly try to make an attack at the lizard folk with his weapon to defend his loyal sidekick, Meepo.
So Dimitri and Myra are both not on the turn order.
I have him on there. I have Dimitri.
I just tried to redo mine, but I don't know if it attached that time either.
Okay.
It's half time.
Okay,
So I
that time it did. If you want to switch it back to the first one, I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably keep you with the first one you rolled. Sorry.
No, that's totally fine. I was just trying to get it attached.
Okay, so yeah, I've got you as a 3 initiative there on the turn order. Is that right?
Wait, you?
Yeah.
Me?
Down.
My first
No,
one
that's
was not.
Gardein.
Oh. Okay. So I'll switch yours manually then to a 9. There we go.
Thanks.
Again. Fantastic. So Dimitri gets up to defend his friend Meepo and swings with his sword. He rolls a 16 there, which I believe is going to hit. Yep, that hits. And he'll roll damage there, dealing 11 slashing damage to this lizard folk warrior. Cutting into him there. Varys, it's your turn.
The bigger one, or is it just the one size?
I don't know. I'd have to look at the website again.
I'm hiding.
Yeah, that was good. Thank you.
Alright, I am. I thought I was muted. I am going to do this front one with my bow.
Okay, so it's kind of a tough angle there. You'll probably want to move to the side a little bit so you can get a better shot, but yeah, you can definitely do that.
We'll go right there.
All right, so give me a shot with your bow there.
How tall are
Come
lizard
on,
folk?
bow.
So an 11 glances off of his little sort of hide shield that he's wearing on his arm, and clanks away, no damage dealt.
Alright.
Okay, anything else from you?
No, that's all I'm going to do.
Okay, Gardain, you're up. Meepo stands before you looking like he's about to pass out, and these lizard folk are brandishing their weapons. Apparently having given you an opportunity to leave their home, but now attacking.
Well, I'm pretty low on spells and everything. So, let me see something here. I will cast Sacred Flame on this one.
Okay, sure. So go ahead and give me the attack roll for that. Oh, it's a dex save. Okay, Sacred Flame. Okay, it's a dexterity save of 13. Let's see how the lizard folk does. He rolls an 18, so no damage dealt as he dodges out of the way as this flash of sacred light tries to singe his scaly hide. To no effect this time, unfortunately. Anything else from you, Guardian?
I think I will move backwards.
Retreating a bit? Back
Yeah.
This way? Okay. Fair enough. You can definitely do that. That's right. You guys haven't really taken a rest since your fight with the bullywugs, have you?
No.
Okay.
So I'm
Alright.
like running low.
Mm-hmm. This could get interesting. We'll see how this goes.
I was just gonna leave, but it's not gonna work now.
Sorry, it is your
You're
turn.
welcome to watch whatever you want.
I'm gonna use my last rage.
Ah!
But I will
Alrighty.
survive somehow.
Okay. And what else are you doing? You gonna attack or are you gonna retreat?
Attack
warm.
this
I told you.
the lizard folk. I gotta get Meepo away. Like, gotta at least kill this one.
All right.
Won't survive 2 attacks.
Given the circumstances, I normally wouldn't ask you this, but are you swinging to kill?
I mean, maybe.
Watch a movie.
Yeah, we can watch a movie.
I'm swinging to want to kill.
All right, then go for
We
it.
can do
Just checking.
I was gonna watch one.
Go ahead and give me an attack roll.
What if I kill?
What do you want?
I just thought that maybe given the circumstances and the fact that they tried to get you to leave first, you might not. But
Star Trek movie.
it's totally up to you what you want to do in this
I
situation.
haven't seen it in a long time. I started watching it.
If I confidently could get Meepo away
Yeah, we can do that.
and back out, I would. But I'm not sure that's gonna work.
It's totally up to you. Do your thing.
I think he's asking like if you're swinging to like injure or damage.
Well, yeah.
versus,
Am
like,
I intending to kill, or am I trying just to
Yeah.
swing him?
Not trying to influence your decision at all. I just, given the circumstances, I thought I'd ask. That's all. You can do whatever you want here.
You can do whatever you want here, okay?
Famous last word.
Mm-hmm. Do do do
Not
do
okay.
do do
Dang
do.
it. Okay. So my sword is one-handed. Like this is kind of. It's gonna be up to you if I can do this. I'm going to grab the back of Meepo's short thing. I'm pretty sure it's dress.
Yeah, he's got like a little like loincloth on, kind of thing.
Toga thing.
Yeah, there we go.
I got the back of his cape because I know he's got that on him. And I'm going to like swing him back and kind of step in front like in a defensive mode.
Okay. Yeah, I'd allow that.
To be like, we're gonna leave, but you gotta let us leave.
Okay. So you're trying to basically pick up the kobold and put him behind you like this.
Yeah, and then just like put my sword out in front, like. And
Defensively.
Look at him like, we're gonna leave, but
Okay.
you gotta give us that second.
All right, I like that. Okay, so since you're moving Meepo against his will, that won't provoke an opportunity attack on Meepo, which is good. But yeah, you sort of, this is going to be your action. You grab him and you sort of pull him out of the way and place him behind you, and then you just kind of sort of hold your hand up with your weapon and trying to be non-threatening. Is that what you're going for?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
as non-threatening as barbarian who's smiling at you can.
Okay, so
Raging.
I want to roll on this. I'm not sure if I want to go with straight persuasion on this though, because it's not really. What the heck? Let's go with persuasion. Give me a persuasion roll to see how well this particular act goes off here.
Not really.
Not super well. He still seems like really angry. You did get Meepo out of the way. You put a body. All right. Okay. And that's going to be your turn. Next up, we have some lizard folk who are going to rush up and begin attacking Mr. Dimitri here. Going to make 2 attacks. Going to take a bite and a swing with their heavy club. Misses with both attacks because Dimitri has crazy high armor class. But yeah, swing, clank off of the armor, and no damage dealt on the first one. Next one. Let's see here. It's going to be... This guy back here is going to continue his run in this direction.
Are you good?
He's going to do something in the darkness beyond your vision.
I probably did.
And in response...
We'll need some later.
I'm going to go ahead and reveal a little bit more here. You can see this back door that he went
the
through.
tails is,
And another lizard folk, a different one, comes in after him, headed in this direction.
You want some?
After that one's turn, it is this main one, this sort of one that had tried to speak with you at the beginning, who, again, brandishes his weapon, and he turns to you, Ashari, and swings. He's going to go with a bite and a club attack at you. Okay? So, with a natural 20 on the bite, he hits you for 5 piercing damage, reduced to 2 because you're raging. But he misses with his heavy club. No damage dealt there.
Yeah.
How are you as far as hit points go from the last battle? I don't even know.
Half.
Okay, all right. So you're not in
I've
too
got
bad a shape.
24 hit points. Like, there's a reason I stood up and just got in between Meepo. Like, I sacrificed an entire attack round for that.
Fair enough.
No one was going to be attacked.
Can you use it on yourself?
Myra, you're up.
Not when I'm dead.
Okay. Let's see here.
1d4 plus your spellcasting ability modifier.
But you can't use that on yourself.
I am going to.
Why not?
I'm gonna try to shoot for this guy.
Okay. This one who just entered the room? Sure.
Yes.
Alrighty.
And what? Sorry, my mouse froze up.
Oh, I forgot to vote for.
Now it's not working. I'm having bad luck with technology, guys. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm going to try to just kind of step around Dimitri, like just kind of in between Dimitri and that other lizard guy, just to like shoot a firebolt, you know, between the two of them.
Okay.
Yeah, but there could be dragons.
So
Go
kind of
for it.
lead.
Yeah, sort of a lean.
I'm leaning.
I dig it. Alrighty. So, 7 is not going to be enough. That first one, it hits the wall, that corner in front of him, and just crashes against the muddy, rocky earthen walls in here. All of this appears to be more like natural caverns and whatnot. So, but yeah, no damage dealt there. Anything else? You're done.
I guess I'm within range of that one guy, so yeah, I'll stay where I am right now.
Okay. All right. Varys, you're up, sir. What are you doing?
Sorry.
Yeah.
We would get to it till they find it not.
Talking about doing Discord?
Yeah. I'm just setting everything up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just step up and try to hit this guy with my sword.
I've never done.
This one here?
Yeah.
You use a roll.
All right. Give me an attack roll.
Yeah.
So you need to make an account.
Yeah.
21 will hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
Oh, yes.
11 slashing. All right. I assume you're swinging to kill, so how do you finish him?
These are lizards, right?
Lizard folk. Humanoid-sized lizard men.
Yeah.
They're human-sized
Dimitri guy,
lizards.
that's very kind
I think I'm going to... Let's see, if you cut off their tails, it grows back. Let's just lob off the head and then just start, like, dicing up his tail just in spite for fun.
All right. Okay. So you do a series of quick cuts after taking off the head and just out of spite, cutting into its body as it falls to the ground in a heap.
Lizard man steaks.
The other lizard folk turn to you with hatred in their eyes and they hiss in response to this display of barbaric brutality.
I knew I'd piss him off.
Alrighty. After your turn, you see coming out of this door another lizard folk that makes it about this far on his turn. Coming out the door that the other one went through.
We're lucky
At the end of his
not
turn.
Marines beings.
This one here takes a step back and is going to grab a javelin off of his back and is going to hurl it forward towards you, Varys, in retaliation for killing his friend. So he's going to throw that there. Javelin comes flying through the air. He rolls a 20 for 7 piercing damage as it sinks into your thigh.
For 7?
Yep, 7 piercing damage.
Dang it. Alright.
Okay. Okay. Let's see here. I have Ashari on the order twice for some reason, but you already went, so I'm going to delete this one. All right. Next up is this lizard folk.
I don't know where I'm at.
You're okay. You're right here.
My turn order is real messed up.
Huh. I wonder why. That's weird.
Like, mine is not working.
This lizard folk right here, it's his turn. He'll do similarly. He'll step back, pull out his javelin, and he's going to throw it at you, Varys. Again, in retaliation for killing their friend. The javelin flies through the air. He rolls an 18 for 7 piercing damage, as you now have 2 large javelins sticking out of you.
So if he rolls my armor class, it's a hit, right?
Yes, if he matches your armor class, it still is a hit, unfortunately. So yeah, two javelins are now sticking out of your body. You can decide where they're at, but you've been skewered thoroughly by these guys. Next up, you see yet another lizard folk come out the door and make his way here. He is gonna pull out a javelin as well. This time he's throwing it at Dimitri, because this one didn't see you kill the other one, so he's gonna throw it at Dimitri. He rolls a natural 20 though.
We're gonna TPK. But
And he deals 14 piercing damage to Dimitri. Alright, so that's gonna leave him at 15 hit points.
My AC is, I think, 18 if I have my shield out. If I don't have my shield out, it's 16.
This could get interesting. Gardain, it is your turn, sir. Actually, no, I have you on the order twice as well. You've already gone, so I'm going to delete this one. It's not your turn. Sorry. Okay, next up, 10, 15, 20, 30. He's going to dash.
What is that?
So he dashes, so he can't attack. This one, he seems to be. You've seen one like this. Each of the patrols that you've seen pass by has what appears to be a more heavily armored leader, if you will. Seems a little bit more burly, a little bit more strong, and this one fits that bill as well. Perhaps a squad commander of some sort. And his shield has a special design sort of emblazoned on it with a large lizard with its tongue sticking out, sort of a thing. As he comes through the door, he actually looks at the carnage that's unfolding before him, and he cries out in Draconic to his fellows, "Hastraka Hogasta!" And you see one of them sort of reply back to him in response, and that's going to be the end of his turn there. Next up is
a little bit to Meepo, like, what was that?
Meepo, who is very dazed from having taken a club to the head. He didn't quite catch all of it, but he turns to you and he says, "Him ask who we are."
Oh,
And he kind of leaves it at that.
We're
Next up,
friends, obviously.
invaders.
Can't you
Go
tell?
Next up is Meepo's turn. He's not
Meepo,
feeling
back
super
up.
great, and he's gonna make his way
Go
out
send
the
us
door.
Oceanus.
And Oceanus, in fact, is going to kind of follow him and put an arm over Meepo and be like, "Are you okay?" And help him in that direction.
Just run.
Next up is Dimitri Dark. Dimitri is going to continue his assault. He's going to attack the lizard folk in front of him here. He's going to swing his longsword again.
I probably should take it.
Rolls a 21 for 9 slashing damage this time, cutting into the lizard folk in front of him, who lets out a cry and a hiss. Alrighty.
Oh. This is...
Go.
That's
Hey, Varys, it's your turn. You have these 2 javelins sticking out of you now. You see that more lizard folk seem to be coming. What are you doing, sir?
I think I'm gonna smile at those that put those javelins in my leg and in my left arm, and I'm gonna take one out and throw it back.
Oh, I like it. Okay, so and you throw it back. Which one are you aiming for?
This guy.
The one in the front? Okay. So you rolled a 12, unfortunately, which misses. It scatters and hits the ground right next to his feet and scatters across the floor with a loud clanking noise. Anything else, Varys?
No.
All right, no movement or anything, so we'll move on to Gardain. It is your turn, sir.
Okay, what's everybody's health at?
I'm at
I'm at
13.
24.
Hmm? Mariah? Or
Mine's
Ashari?
pretty good.
What's Dimitri's at?
I'm at 24 out of 36.
Okay.
Dimitri
And I can
isn't.
keep taking hits because they're bite guys.
Dimitri's sitting at 15 hit points currently.
Okay, well, in that case,
Dimitri will die before I will.
I will cast Sacred Flame on this guy.
All right, so another dexterity saving throw for the lizard folk. We'll see if he passes. DC 13. He rolls a 2, so he'll take 5 Sacred Flame radiant damage that burns and scorches his scales, and he lets out a howl of pain. Let's see there. So 5 radiant damage. Okay. All right.
As
Anything
a
else?
Yeah, as a bonus action, I will cast Shield of Faith on
Okay.
Dimitri.
Okay. Now, question on that: do you still have spell slots after the
Yes.
last fight and everything?
I have
You do?
two.
Okay.
So I have 2 spell slots left. This will take one.
All right. Sounds good. So, Shield of Faith. As a bonus action, creature of your choice within range. Concentration up to 10 minutes. Okay, so you're concentrating on this. We need to remember that. I'm going to actually put a little mark on your character so we can remember. You are currently concentrating.
Thank you.
So that's going to be, we'll go with,
What?
we'll
Yeah,
use this
probably.
little symbol to show that you're concentrating on something right there. Okay, Shimmering Field appears around the creature of your choice, and they get a +2 bonus to AC. All right, so Dimitri's going to be a little bit harder to hit. That bumps his armor class up to, with his shield, it's going to be 18, it looks like. So, yeah. Cool. Moving on, it is Ashari's turn.
I'm going to step over the dead, cut up lizard folk body.
Little chunks of the tail just kind of are laying all over
You
the
can watch
place
whatever.
after Varys was done with it.
Grab my sword two-handed
okay.
and just swing
Okay.
All
as
right.
hard as I can.
Okay.
Okay, give me that attack roll.
Please be good. Oh, come on! 20, the suspense is not helpful! Look it again. There we go! Oh, 15.
Okay, 15 is just enough to hit. That is going to hit. Roll the damage for me there.
8.
8 damage. That includes your rage, right? Okay.
Yeah.
That is
So
just
6
enough
plus
to kill him. That is just enough to end him if that's your intention. So he
Just
falls
take
to the
off his
ground.
head again. Yeah,
All right.
that's the intention. Taking off his head.
There are 2
There's
lizard
no point
folk
in saving
heads.
this battle.
2 lizard folk heads lying on the ground now. Okay. All right, and that'll be the end of your turn.
Yep.
This lizard folk is dead, so we'll move on to the next one.
Since we're all gonna die, so might as well block. Might as well put the tanks now in front of everyone.
No, she's done for gold. And
Everyone else can do long distance stuff.
Wipe it on
Yeah.
you yet?
Not yet. It's coming though.
Alrighty. Cool. So this one here is gonna run up here and throw a javelin. This time aiming at you, Ashari, since you're up front there.
That and I just killed a friend.
That you did.
I'm not gonna be up in melee.
Rolls a 12. Does that hit?
Nope.
Okay. The javelin clatters on the ground behind you. No damage to it there. And next up is a dead lizard folk, so we'll move on. Myra.
Yeah, so I was watching you play
Okay.
WoW last night, and then I get back on and you're whatever game you were playing, like, what the fuck is this?
I am going to move. I can move my picture. There we go.
Yeah, two
Gonna run right up here.
They were like, oh, you should.
Okay.
Mason.
I'm going to cast Burning Hands
Sorry,
right into
Oh.
this guy's face.
I didn't realize I wasn't
Okay.
muted.
And this diagonal, like
yeah,
direction.
two of my
So the
buddies
guy
started
next to me,
playing
this guy is
Okay.
probably not gonna be affected.
It's
but...
been around for a while.
All right, so let's take a look at that then. It is a 15-foot cone. So you can't quite hit this far guy. He's too far away. You can hit
Those three.
basically these three. You can hit these three in front of you
Yep.
with your burning hands. Okay, so you spread out your fingers and a sheet of fire just spreads out in front of you, engulfing these three lizard folk in front of you. I believe they get dexterity saving throws, correct?
I mean, that was the first time.
Three. So they get to do a dexterity roll. If they are higher, then they take half damage.
Okay, so two of them made their saves, rolled higher than 12. One of them will take the full damage. So one takes 8, the other two take 4. So this one in front of you will say takes the full brunt of your attack and is just scorched by this thing, letting out a howl of pain. The other two manage to kind of shield themselves a little bit from the full force of it, and are only going to take it.
And I have to roll a D100.
Yes, that's right. Wild Magic Surge. Please
I
do
was like, is
so.
that Jackie? And he's like, that's Mr. Jackie to you.
All right, so you rolled a 48. Let's take a look and see what that does. 1 second here.
Okay, I have it. 48 is.
Oh,
a
46.
unicorn.
Sorry, 46 actually. 46. Sorry.
Oh, 46. Okay. You cast Levitate on yourself.
Okay, so you suddenly start lifting up into the air without meaning to. You're suddenly floating. Oh, crap!
Okay.
Hey, at least you can still cast your spells.
Now the ceiling's
Right?
the ceiling's about 10 feet high in here, but you just sort of whoa, and you're kind of floating like 5 feet above the ground right now.
Okay. It doesn't say how long it's supposed to last. Do you want to put a limit on that?
Let's take a look at the actual spell itself, and we'll see.
Okay, sorry guys.
You're fine.
No problem. Oh, good. I love wild magic. It's so fun. So levitate. Concentration up to 10 minutes. So you cast it on yourself. So technically you are concentrating on this. You can choose to drop concentration when you want. That's how I would interpret it, unless the wild magic table says otherwise. So yeah, you can vertically rise up to 20 feet and remain suspended for the duration. You can levitate things up to 500 pounds, but of course you've already cast it on yourself, so that doesn't matter.
I will just levitate myself to the ceiling.
Okay.
Fasten myself to it and try to not get stabbed by javelin.
Okay. So again, it's about a 10-foot high ceiling, so you're about 5 foot above the ground with your head touching the ceiling. Okay. I love it.
I can lay myself vertically against the.
You could, but you'd technically be prone in my opinion if you're doing that. Like, but you can do that if you want. If you want to like really. Okay, cool. Alrighty. Anything else? Or are you done there?
Well, I guess I'm done.
So you're just floating against the ceiling. Alrighty. Vareth, you're up. You just saw your friend shoot this cone of fire out.
Oh, sweet. I love cones of fire.
Did someone die?
Oh, goodness. Well, these guys don't like me. I still don't understand why.
I wonder. I wonder.
Oh, look,
He seems big and burly. A little bit different from the others.
Let's see. Oh, we've arrested. We don't have anything.
We have nothing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you used all of your lay on hands at the very least. I'm not sure how many of your spell slots you used, but
I only used one, but cure wounds.
I'm gonna move this body out of the way and this one over here, just so that they're not moving.
Well, I'm going to. Let's just throw the other javelin I have sticking out of my body.
Alright. Pull another one out. Okay, that's a 21. That will hit. So I assume you're hitting this one here.
Yeah, this is the closest one.
8 piercing damage as the javelin sinks into its former owner.
It says 8 plus 6. Why did it say 8 plus 6?
That's because it automatically rolled. You rolled a 20 on the advantage roll, but we don't worry about that since you didn't have
Oh,
advantage.
okay. Okay.
So
I was like, what?
we're just going with the 8 for the first one. That's the extra damage from the crit, but yeah, no crit.
Gotcha.
Alrighty, anything else?
No, I was hoping he was dead.
Not quite. He's still standing. He looks badly wounded, but still.
I envisioned a really cool. Maybe next
Maybe in the next round. We'll see. Okay. All right. Okay. So this lizard folk right here is gonna run up and is going to attack Myra. He's gonna make 2 attacks. One is on your turn, sure. He comes at you first with his spiked shield to stab you with the bony protrusions on it, and then he swings around with his heavy club afterward.
Can he have disadvantage since I'm floating in the air?
So he's technically in.
She's technically like.
Yeah, you are floating, but you're technically within 5 feet because of the height of the ceiling. I'll give it to you this time, sure. So disadvantage. He misses with his club with the disadvantage, but he still hits with the spiked shield and manages to stab it upward into you for 7 piercing damage.
Hi, yo. Okay.
Alrighty. And give me a concentration check for your levitate spell.
Okay.
That's a constitution saving throw, basically. Concentration.
So, let's
Alright, you pass your concentration, you maintain control of the spell, and you do not fall to the ground. Woohoo. Alrighty, next up.
This is the worst thing that could fall from.
The one that took the brunt of your fire spell, he now is going to do the same thing. He's going to come at you with the spike shield and his heavy club. Okay, he hits you with the club, misses with the shield, 4 bludgeoning damage as he clubs you really hard. Give me another concentration check after you take the 4 bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
Alright, so that's an 8. You lose concentration on your spell, and suddenly you fall 10 feet to the ground. Plop. 5 feet. We'll say you take like 2 points of damage from it, that's all. Just 2 points. We won't do a full d6, just 2 points. Okay?
Okay.
As you are prone on the ground as well as a result of falling, so we'll put a little marker for you that you're prone. Okay, and next up is this guy, who's going to turn to you and is going to attack you. I'm very sorry, because you're prone, he is going to have advantage on all these attacks. So spike shield, heavy club.
Just so you guys know, my health is going down very rapidly. So.
We know.
Mine too.
Rolls a 20 with the spike shield, stabs into you for 3 piercing damage with the spike shield. And then with advantage rolls a 13. Does that hit?
One sec.
What is your armor class?
14. So you just.
Okay. So you just barely manage to roll out of the way as the heavy club comes crashing into the dirt and stone right next to your head.
I took 2 from the first one?
3. 3 piercing from the spike shield. Okay. Alrighty.
I'm still alive, y'all.
Okay. It is this one's turn. Who's going to come over here? He's going to rush forward and attack Ashari. Heavy club and a spiked shield coming your way. Okay. Didn't do the second one, did it? Spike shield, heavy club. Please. Roll 20, come on! Just roll! Alright, no, it's not rolling is the thing. Let me try this again. Heavy club, spike shield. Okay, so heavy club, he rolls a 14.
That hits.
Okay, that's 7 reduced to 3 because you're raging. And then spike shield is a 19 for 6 reduced to 3. So you're going to take 6 total. As he slams into you. Coming over top. Alright? Alright. Next up is the lizard folk scale shield. This large, looming, powerful looking lizard folk with much nicer looking weapons and armor. He runs up, and instead of engaging the rest of you over here, he stands next to Myra, and he pulls out his weapon, which is much nicer than the others. Like, it's like a steel morning star that he's wielding along with his spiked shield. And surprisingly, he holds it down, pointing it towards Myra, turns to you, and in very broken common, he says, "Drop weapons, or dead."
It's okay, I can decide, it's all good. Get things under control.
And he is essentially holding his action to strike at your friend with his weapon.
If we strike, if we attack, he's gonna kill her.
He's telling you to drop your weapons in very broken common. You can definitely tell it's not his native tongue, but you can make it out.
I dropped my weapon.
It's not your turn yet.
It is Meepo's turn, who continues to run away. Oceanus in tow with him. It is Dimitri's turn. So here's the question, guys. What would Dimitri do in this situation?
Dimitri would run out of
She said understudy.
So the only instruction that Colby gave me,
Understudy.
the only instruction that Colby gave me was that Dimitri just make sure that he's cool. That's all. He's got to keep being cool. So what's the cool thing for Dimitri to do in this particular situation?
Probably try to
Write a lot about how his goddess of darkness will avenge in their attack somehow.
All right. So I'm gonna roll a.
Attack this guy and hopefully kill him in one blow.
I'm gonna roll a d20. And I've got a couple options. I got a couple options depending on how this roll goes. Okay, we'll see.
Which bolt his ass?
Let's see here. So that's a 16. So based on a 16, Dimitri is going to monologue.
Oh my God.
Dimitri steps forward
and says, "You should be dropping your weapons to us. Surrender before the powers of darkness, for a true hero is here now." But he doesn't attack. He's trying to persuade this guy not to hurt his friend. So I'm gonna have him do a charisma persuasion check to see how that goes over. He rolls an 18. He rolled an 18. Okay, so this bulky-looking lizard folk with the morning star kind of looks at him very confusedly, almost like he didn't understand all of the fancy words that just came out of Dimitri's mouth. But he sort of pulls his morning star away a little bit and gives him kind of a curious look. And says, he calms down a little bit, and he's like, "Why are you here?" And that's his response to Dimitri at this point. And then we're going to move on to Varys' turn.
Varys, what are you saying? Oh no.
It looks like somehow Dimitri has him willing to talk almost with an 18.
Yes.
Roll. So he pulled his weapon away a little bit. He's still threatening Myra, but less so in response to Dimitri's word, and is asking you all why you are here.
I'm not much of a persuader, but I'm gonna kind of show them my sword and kind of set it off to the side, not far from my hand, but just kind of
Okay.
like.
So you're putting it on the ground and sort of putting your hands up, kind of a thing?
Yeah, just kind of like. Maybe we can talk for a second rather than.
Okay.
To fight.
You
To
see
kind of,
his...
I want to play on that persuasion that.
Yeah, definitely.
Rolled.
You immediately see this sort of bulkier, bigger leader of them sort of, he visibly sort of calms down a little bit, and his muscles loosen up just a tad. He's still holding his weapon threateningly, but he seems to be responding to you putting your weapon down, and not immediately smashing your friend's skull in. That'll be your turn, Gardain. What are you doing, sir? You putting your weapon down, you said?
Yeah, I'll kind of walk up here beside Varys, and I'll put my weapon down also.
Okay, you're making like a show of it so he sees you, sort of a thing? Okay. Alright. Ashari, how about you?
Oh.
I'm gonna. Oh, you wanna do something?
You wanted to do something else, Gardain?
Well, I was gonna heal someone also.
Oh yeah, you can. You can do that if you want to heal Varys or someone. Sure.
Varys, how are you looking?
I'm at 13.
And how is Myra looking?
I'm definitely not a 30.
She's looking rough. She's on the ground, surrounded by lizard folk, bleeding pretty badly.
He's a little worse than I.
Alright, then I'll just be like, I just want to heal my friend. That's all I want to do. And then I'll cast Healing Word on Myra.
Okay, so you say a prayer to your god and cast the spell, and it heals up 4 points of wounds. Okay, so a few of your wounds and bruises seem to heal up a little bit for you as you're lying on the ground there. Okay, and that'll be your turn. Ashari, what are you doing?
The most I can. What's 1d4?
I can't drop something like that. I lower it down so it's point down, so it's not easily brought up quickly. And
Oh, I rolled a 1.
disengage, I don't know how that works.
So your options here. So you have this. Yeah, you have this one right in front of you. So if you move away, that would provoke. You could use your action to disengage. That is an option you can do.
I'm going to use my action to disengage back up to about
Okay. You're kind of blocking view with the corner. You probably want to stand here if you want to stay visible. If not, put yourself where you want to be.
Behind Varys.
Okay, so you kind of scoot behind Varys after moving carefully away from the other. Okay. All right. So collectively, you've taken the round to show that you're trying to de-escalate, and it is now this lizard folk leader, this Scale Shield's turn. He will step forward.
Wait, what about my turn?
You're coming up here.
Oh, okay. I thought for whatever reason he was after me. Because I haven't had a turn since he moved last time.
Yeah, oh, no, wait. Okay, sorry. It's not his turn, actually. There's a different scale shield that you guys can't see. Sorry. Yeah. Things are happening off to the side that you guys can't see. Sorry. My bad. I got them mixed up. And then it is... Let's see. This guy's turn. He's going to do some stuff back here. Then it is... this one's turn here. He's going to run up. And he's going to join the congregation around Myra. He looks like he's about to swing, like in a bloodthirsty rage because of what you've done to his friends. But the leader standing next to him holds up a hand.
Face a little, okay? I haven't killed no one yet.
The one who's been talking in common holds up his arm that has his shield and sort of indicates for this one to stop and says a curt word in Draconic to him. And so he, mid-swing, he stops and doesn't come down on your head. And it is your turn, Myra. Are you going to do anything? Or are you staying on the ground? What are you doing?
Like, can I self-harm? I don't like this situation of being held hostage.
I mean...
That would, like, be counterproductive to the health and stuff, so...
I mean, you can do whatever you want. I'm not going to stop you. If you've decided you want a new character, we can talk about that next week, and we'll roll something up for you. It'll be fun.
I just, like, do this Japanese, like, cut my feet, come open, out again. No, okay, I will just continue to lie on the floor, kind of peeved, and wishing I was dead from the beginning.
Just seething, all right.
I'm just like,
okay.
seriously? I came over here to help my friends, not to, like, become a bargaining chip. What the frick is this? And there will be much profanity and sailor cussing, since that is
Yeah.
happening.
I love it.
Aquarium, because that's where she's gonna go. That's where she's gonna default and grumble.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
So I'm hearing this and I'm trying not to laugh.
Yeah, if Oceanus was still in the room, he would be blushing, but,
She'd be blushing purple.
he's not used to this kind of language. But all right, Varys, it is your turn. It is your turn again here. If you guys are wanting to drop out of initiative for a second and have a conversation, we can do that, or we can keep moving in initiative turns here. What would you guys like to do?
I feel like we've shown them a symbol of good faith, so I think we...
Okay, so we're going to drop out of initiative now. Anybody who wants to say something or who wants to try and do something here, let me know, and we'll talk about it. If we need to jump back into initiative, I'll let you know.
You guys all need to be diplomatic. I am not.
So this leader, again, he's no longer threatening Myra as much, but all of his friends here are. He's sort of told them with a gesture not to kill her, but he seems pissed. He sees the bodies of two of his men lying before him, and he calls out to you again, and he points to their bodies, and he says, "You bring death to our home. Why have you come and killed my people?" And he's obviously still very angry, but based off of your de-escalation of things, he doesn't seem like he's about to kill anybody. So
We wanted to talk and they attacked us.
So I think that your grumbling and your strange words in a language they don't understand prompts a swift kick from one of the other ones who just doesn't want to put up with it, and he just kind of gives you a little smack, no damage or anything, but just to sort of send a message to you.
And I'm gonna yell at his face, Yamagao.
He just kind of shakes his head and kind of looks to his fellows, says something in Draconic. What are the rest of you doing here?
I mean, I think at this point we would just be like, look, we didn't mean to intrude. We stumbled upon this looking for shelter. We went to leave and your people attacked us. Like, we'll, we just want to go.
Alright. So, roll me a persuasion check, Guardian.
I mean, do you all agree on that?
What's your persuasion?
I mean, it's not great, but it's not terrible.
So,
well, apparently not good.
So go ahead and give me the roll here. Did you already? Is that it? The 7? Or was that from
No,
before?
yeah, that was it.
That was it? Okay. So he looks at you, and again, it kind of looks like he doesn't, like this isn't his native language, and he's struggling a little bit. The way that he phrases his words is a little bit halting here, but he turns to you, he says, "Do you still no tell why? Why kill my people?"
Can I say something from the floor now?
Of course.
Okay. So as simply as possible, I'm going to say, we want to leave. That one, I'm going to point to one of the ones that's dead. That one attacked us. That one used weapons on us.
You'll see him sort of nod to you, and then he speaks to his fellows there, the other lizard folk, in Draconic. You get the gist that he's probably asking them exactly what happened, and getting their account of how this went down.
You're gonna say we said this.
No, not necessarily, because that one was being super aggressive to us.
Yeah, he attacked Meepo first.
He did technically attack Meepo first, but that was also with a really, really bad persuasion check in a tough situation where he was.
But it's Meepo.
So you see this conversation, though, this back and forth between this leader and the other ones who were here and saw the whole thing go down. And he turns to you on the ground and he says, "This one speaks of kobold. Tries to speak deceiving words. You intrude in our home with weapons, and you expect us not to attack? Foolishness," he hisses.
I mean, that's fair, but we were just defending ourselves.
"Why did you come in the first place?" he hisses. "What brings you here, if not to kill us?"
No, then is Kata still with me?
Yeah, your little pseudo-dragon is hovering about. I have the token over here, but sure, she's like kind of flittering about around you.
I would say, as I said, we were looking for shelter, and Kata was kind of pointing us in this direction.
Okay. You're going to have to give me a deception check, because you are lying at this time. So.
Do it.
That's not good.
8. He gives you a deep scowl at this. He says, "You have trespassed in our home." About this time, you do see another one of these guys coming down the hall. You see this one coming here. It looks like an alarm has been sounded as a result of your entrance here. You see a couple coming down from this way. But he turns to you and he says, "You have trespassed in our home and killed our people. Ulthok and Queen will judge." And then he signals to the other lizard folk to basically move forward and take your weapons. And some of them will begin to approach you in that regard, picking up the weapons on the ground.
I'll hand him my gardening shears.
Sure, yeah, you pass your gardening shears to one of them. Are you resisting, or are you going to allow them to take your weapons and do this? Okay.
Honestly, guys, I could just create a
I'm
new
happy
character
about
if you want to try to blow yourself out.
More lizard folk appear to be showing up as time continues to pass. They round up your weapons. Your hands are bound, and you are now going to be escorted through their lair. We're gonna
committing war crimes. We're gonna end dead.
So again, unless any of you want to try and fight your way out of this, they are taking you hostage now. Okay. Once they've taken your weapons and tied your hands, you are going to be led.
Wait, I have a question.
Sure.
No, okay, I'm just gonna do. So, now I am going to look at Ashari as if I'm yelling something at her, okay? But I'm actually going to be yelling in Elvish to, what's their name? Oceana or whatever.
Oceana.
Oceana's real far.
Oceanus, yeah. Because it is in a cave, so it should be echoey. So I'm going to yell at Oceanus to leave with Nepo and don't get caught.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Sure.
It looks like I'm yelling at Ashari though.
Okay. Give me just a performance check to see how this goes over. It's going to be real low DC. This should be easy enough. I just want to see. Go ahead and give me just a performance. That
Let's see if
seems
I
like
learned anything from my master.
easy enough for you to do. Yeah. You think your ruse went over pretty well. You think
I'm slightly offended.
they seem none the wiser.
I'll be so proud of me.
Okay, so I'm gonna.
He can't understand you.
Huh?
Especially since he can't understand you. He should be proud of you. But he doesn't understand anything.
It's true.
He could be. Didn't say he was.
Dimitri's gonna follow suit with the rest of you. He doesn't seem happy about it, but he surrenders his weapons. You all are bound at your hands, and then I'm gonna reveal some more of the map here, as the guards are going to lead you along a long corridor here towards the cells. Let's see here. This may take just a moment. I'm just going to show you the path. These are dark rock and mud corridors for the most part. Nothing super fancy or anything like that. You see a lot of lizard folk along the way as you pass, but it is a fairly uneventful thing as you are flanked on every side by this large number of lizard folk as they escort you to the jail cells here. Alright. So let's go ahead and grab you all here.
Holy crap, it's a long corridor.
Yeah, this is a big complex of tunnels and things. Your pseudo dragon flies around with you, Chardin, hovering about on your shoulder. They don't seem bothered by it. In fact, they actually sort of look at it and give the approximation of a smile. It's hard to tell with the lizard folk face, but yeah. But you have several of these more heavily armored scale shields and other normal lizard folk flanking you at each side, weapons at the ready, as they lead you along the corridor here. looping
Can
around.
you into those other rooms as we walk past them?
Sure, I'll reveal some more as you pass by. Why not?
Just recon while we're under arrest.
Yeah, no, you see a door leading down this way. You see a little hallway that leads to another door here. You see that there's a door right up there. And you probably see a little bit ways down this hall as well, but not super far. You'd be brought over here. You see another contingent of guards who seem to be guarding this door here, which you are led through. And I'll go ahead and reveal that. And you are brought through these doors, one by one, led by these guards, and shown to these cells. And as you pass by them, you can see that there's actually some things within them. Let me pull that up here for you. Well, first, as you enter into this little section here, you can see the 4 lizard folk that are on guard here with the iron-bound wooden door that leads into this sort of jail cell area. But in the first one here, it looks like a lizard folk is actually held in this first cell here. Seems a little strange, but they sort of cower as you are brought by, and they turn their eyes away, not wanting to really interact as this takes place here. But you are each brought into these 3 cells here. A couple of you in one, a couple in another. And your little pseudo-dragon as well. The doors are slammed, closed behind you, and you hear one of these ones here again in broken common says, "You wait here for judgment of Queen Othokent. You will answer for what you have done." And then they stalk away.
Before they stalk away, do you know how long that'll be?
He sort of turns back to you and says,
Just curious.
he just kind of shakes his head. "At the Queen's pleasure." And then continues on.
If you leave us here all night, we'll have a full rest.
Yes!
Please. Just a long rest.
Oh, man.
Of course, a long rest. A long rest.
All right, so you guys now are in these dank, dark cells. So Varys and Gardain, the 2 of you here, and your little pseudo-dragon. You can't really see your other 2 friends, but you know that they're in the cell next to you, just because of the way that it's there. 3 friends, yes, you're right. What are you all doing at this time?
I would check the door.
I'm pulling out the knife hidden in my boot.
Okay.
I had 5 daggers. There's no way they got all of them.
I'll say that's easy enough. Sure, you have a dagger in your boot. Why not? Okay.
I've got 5 of them. I am armed to the teeth. There's no way they got all my weapons off of me.
I can still cast minor illusion. Just saying.
Are my hands still bound?
Yes, they did not release your ropes across. Of course, with your knife, you probably can cut those.
Do it.
Pull it out and cut my bindings apart. And then I slice it.
It takes a little bit of doing, but you manage to get the knife out of your boot, and you... Okay, and you and your friends in your cell at least have your hands free.
I put it in like one spot so that if we have to hurry, we can make it look like we're bound.
Okay, fair enough, sure.
So the ropes aren't destroyed. There's like one rope thing that you can hold in your hands and hide the ends to make it look like your hands are bound. So if anything, I'm vindictive.
Awesome, I love it.
I've
Fantastic,
been
yeah.
captured enough times.
With the smuggling life, I'm sure you have.
What kind of door is it?
So that is a good question. Let's take a look at that.
Bars? Is it? Okay, like I see out of it and see if there's anyone in the hallway.
So this whole little entryway that you first were brought into, it has short flight of steep rough steps that lead to the narrow east-west passage that ends in a blank hall some 60 feet away. To your right are the 5 iron-bound doors. So they're solid, not like bars. They're actual iron-bound doors, all closed. The doors have no exterior features except for a keyhole midway up the left side of each one. So the door is solid, and it's pretty dark here in the south.
So these doors are
Well,
They aren't barred doors. Sorry, what?
do they swing in or out?
It doesn't specify. I'm going to say they swing in.
That means it hinges on our side.
They swing out. I didn't think
No,
about
you're
it.
gonna go with the first answer.
They're cells. They're jail cells. They wouldn't make that oversight. Your DM didn't think about it,
They're
but
made by lizards.
they wouldn't make that oversight.
The questions. I just like run the questions through to see if I can actually get it right.
I appreciate the attempt, but they wouldn't make that mistake. I made the mistake. You sneaky.
I just want an easy way out. I don't want to
No,
have to slam a door down.
No, I totally get it. You're fine. It's all good.
Like,
But
this is
yeah.
a ridiculously strong door for lizard folk.
Yeah, you unfortunately do not have access to the hinges at this time, so yeah. It was a good thought, though. Good thought.
Is there a window?
No window. It's just stone and mud on the floor and on the walls, and then the iron-bound door. Pretty dark in here, as I said. So you're not entirely sure. You'd need to kind of measure from both sides, and you haven't really had that view.
Of the wall?
If you just had to...
I'm looking at the size of the doors from one cell to the next.
Mm-hmm.
Does it seem to be like a relatively thin, like a foot, instead of like 3 feet deep?
I'm just gonna yell really loud to see if anybody in the neighboring cell can hear me.
Okay,
To see if
so...
I can get a somewhat estimate of how thin or thick that wall is.
Okay, sure. So what are you yelling out? Just anything, or just...
Who's over there right now?
So that's going to be Varys and Gardane and his little pet pseudo-dragon.
I'm gonna be like, hey, Gardean, can you hear me?
So Gardane, give me a perception check. DC is actually going to be a little high on this. 21. Okay, so you do hear the voice of Myra, but it's muffled. It's muffled, and you get like the thick door and the stone walls. It's making it hard to... You imagine it would be very difficult for you to have a conversation, but you can hear her very faintly. Muffled sort of yell.
yeah, I would just be like, I can hear you. We're okay. Are you okay?
Similarly, like, it's muffled. You can hear him as well, Myra. It's just, it'd be difficult to carry on a conversation this way. You figure things might get lost every now and again just because of how muffled it is. But you can hear Gardane reply to you in a muffled sort of way.
Then I'm going to reply, yes, we're okay. And then I'm gonna look at, sorry, be like, the walls are thick.
Thank you.
Anytime, my friend. Happy I'm helping.
Alright, and you're no longer concentrating on that spell, so I'll get rid of that little concentration marker.
When they took everything, did they take shields?
Yeah, they took anything that would have been used for a weapon other than the dagger you had hidden, so like shields and stuff are gone.
But tools and stuff are still with us.
cool. Like, I'll say you got your bags. Sure, why not? Those didn't seem like a threat to them.
Did we see where they took our weapons?
Your weapons? No, you didn't see where they took them. They closed the doors before you would have seen what direction they took your weapons.
Well, it seems we got ourselves in a pickle.
Told y'all you should have killed me. Should have let me die.
A noble sacrifice for the good of all. So some time passes, unless you guys are trying to do something else. Several hours as you while away here in the cell.
So, if several hours have happened,
Take a short rest.
I'm gonna probably try to sleep.
Okay. You can definitely.
Need 4.
You know what? I will roll. I'm gonna make a roll to see how long this actually takes. It's gonna be a couple hours at least. You can definitely get a short rest in if you guys want to.
Well, I don't have any hit dice either.
Okay.
So
For anybody who wants to, though.
4 hours of rest or not.
Okay. So you guys can roll hit dice if you want for a short rest, because you'll definitely have time to do that. But I'm gonna make a roll here just to see how long this is gonna take before they come back for you, basically. So roll. Hey. Okay. So you are in this cell for 7 hours before they finally return to you. It is just shy of a long rest, but I'd allow it. Well, I'll be nice. You guys can go ahead and restore your hit points and stuff. But yeah.
So if we just restored our hit points, we don't need to spend our hit die, right?
Correct. And also, with a long rest, you will get half of your expended hit die back. So if you've used some already, you'll get half back.
So if you use 3, you get 1.
Correct.
As we're hearing them come back, I mock up Dimitri's and Myra's ropes again, and then quickly not mock mine up and just hold them. Hold the end so you're not tied up. And stash my knife back in my boot.
Okay.
As a sailor, is it okay if I instead actually knot the ropes only in an easy
oh sure.
Slip knot where you can just slip out of it if you need to?
100%. That wouldn't be hard for you at all. Yeah, you know enough notes from your sailing time. That's something you could easily do there.
That's what I'll do then. Just to make it look a little bit more realistic, I will put a knot back into it, but one that can just come apart at moment of need. So.
Okay. All right. So they are going to show up again, and they will be trudging you through with an armed escort once again. You assume towards this Queen Othokent that they spoke of, flanked again by the armed guards, and without your weapons, they come and bring you out rather roughly, not gently. And let's go ahead and reveal some more of the map here for you. It's going to take you down this way. Okay. This may take just a sec, guys. Sorry.
Hey, it's our fault. We got captured.
You did get captured. This is true.
We're lucky it's manual labor.
I mean, it could be. Who knows? Alright. I'm going to reveal a lot of stuff because they got to take you pretty far here through the layer on this little prison excursion here. Alright. Boom. Okay. So, they lead you down this way. Roll 20. Don't mess with me right now, please. Thank you.
Because you look at these lizards.
Down these hallways.
Actually, it's like a lizard.
Yes, exactly. Again, many of these hallways are dark, but there are torches lit, so it's not completely dark through here. Muddy and stone construction throughout. You're brought up this sort of bit of stairways on the hallway through this part here. You see several doors and passageways leading in different directions. You do pass a couple random lizard folk here and there who give curious looks at this group of tied up prisoners escorted by guards, some of them hissing a little bit or talking to each other as if they're gossiping. Until eventually you are brought to sort of this large room where you see this gigantic lizard and several armed lizard folk. The open area here in particular it has like 6 floor-to-ceiling pillars that you can see, large supporting pillars that sort of take the central area and lay it bare furniture besides that. In the central area, the earth floor has been packed closer than elsewhere, as if by the passage of many, many feet. There are several wooden benches that stand near the north and south walls. A large mattress has been fixed to the center of the east wall, and attached to it is a large target dummy with the head of a fish-like creature atop it. Several lizard folk are practicing combat one against another or throwing javelins at the dummies currently. A powerfully built and tall lizard folk is leading them in these drills and exercises and looks over to each of you, has a conversation with the lead guard who's escorting you all through here, back and forth, and continues on with his drills with the others. You see this, again, this large, giant lizard that doesn't seem to be intelligent like the lizard folk you've spoken to, who's actually being ridden by one of these other lizard folk people who, astride it, throws a javelin at this strange fish-headed target they have up against the wall. I would like Myra and Ashari to give me perception checks, you two specifically.
Natural 20.
Okay. And Ashari? Myra? 18. Okay, so that's really good for both of you. You can tell immediately that this fish-like head on this dummy is something you know as a Sahuagin, a shark man, a sea devil, a hated enemy of all sea elves and most seaborn peoples, races. And you see these lizard folk using it again, like an actual severed head from one of these Sahuagin on this sort of dummy and using it for target practice. Both of you would instinctively know that Sahuagin are sort of the bane of sea elf society. They're one of the worst troublemakers within the sea. They're ruthless and savage, often called shark people for their bloodthirstiness. And it seems that these lizard folk don't like them either. But you just notice that in passing as you continue on through this sort of practice chamber here.
I'm gonna like mumble under my breath, like, oh well, these, like they, just something along the lines of like, well, these we agree that we both hate, you know, stuff, hooligan or whatever, so that way like those with us who don't know what it is can at least grasp the idea that the elves also don't like that creature.
Okay.
You know, just to make them a little bit more on the same page.
Only one of them here really seems to understand common, the one of the lead here that's guarding your little group. But he's
I'm
sort of
talking to Garden and
okay.
And them, yeah.
To your party, okay. Fair enough.
I guess I can say it to them too. I mean, if that guy overhears me, all the better.
Yeah. I'll say that he did. He overheard you saying this. What exactly are you saying about this Sahuagin to your friends?
Just kind of like, you know, well, these lizard folk can't be all bad. I mean, at least we have like a common enemy with that. You know, kind of like a saying that, like, just getting the general impression that we don't like hooligans at all. And
Okay.
so, like, even our enemies, killing them is, like, you know, like, kind of a common ground. I don't know.
The enemy of our enemy is our friend.
So he
Yeah,
kind of,
exactly.
he sort of raises a lizardy eyebrow, if they had eyebrows, at you saying it. His little tongue sort of flicks out a little bit. Sahuagin taste nice. We will end them all. They have been a scourge on our people. And then he continues to lead you forward. Eventually leading you to this large set of immaculate-looking double doors, much nicer than anything else that you've seen here throughout the complex. And he walks up to this big set of doors, stands in front of it there, and proceeds to creak and push it open. And I'll go ahead and reveal that for you here. Oh, come on. Here we go. So, 2 sets of 3 pillars flank a central area where you can see all of these lizard folk lined up along what appears to be a large throne room. There are carvings of reptiles that decorate the throne itself, and glints of reflective light hint at the presence of inset gemstones. The heads of several creatures hang on the walls, mounted on plaques of wood for display as trophies. You see a number of lizard folk warriors lined up amongst the pillars, and a much more immaculate-looking lizard folk sitting upon the throne itself, with a somewhat older, wizened-looking lizard folk off to her left as you are escorted in and stood in front of her. What are you all doing?
I'm just kind of like looking around in awe.
Yeah, we're gonna look like, you know, just tourists on vacation, kind of just like, oh. And this is the throne room, and hey, there's so good.
Well, they're like the tense. Like, I'm looking around for, like, cracks and pillars and making sure, like, there might be a way out. Doors. That sort of stuff. I'm pacing the room. I know I'm in trouble.
I'm trying to give off the aura of, you know, like, kind of ignorance, like, don't know exactly why I'm here, you know.
Alright. So, as you are stood in front of the throne, you see this somewhat older lizard folk next to the person on the throne lean over and start whispering into their ear. This one on the throne, it's hard to tell with lizard folk, but you would guess that this is a female based off of the dress. She has a large, sort of immaculate kind of headdress sort of look. Slight sort of a figure, but still fierce eyes and teeth like every other lizard folk. And after conversing with this one on her left for a few moments, she turns to the group of you, still sitting upon her throne, and calls out to you in common and says, "So, what have you to say for yourselves? Interlopers, intruders, murderers. You enter our home and bring death. 2 of my faithful soldiers lie dead at your hands. Tell me, why should we not execute you here and now?"
I'm gonna look her dead in the face and say, oh, are those the 2 soldiers that attacked us?
I have heard the story already.
You entered our home unannounced and they defended it. Everything else is irrelevant. Why did you come here and resort to violence so quickly? My advisor tells me that the guards entreated you to leave before they attacked.
In case you haven't noticed, we don't really speak your language. But we did try to make a move to leave. But even after they had attacked us, we still tried to make a move to leave. But unfortunately, they didn't allow us.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a persuasion check for me. Go ahead and roll a persuasion check for me here.
Everything I speak is truth. Yeah.
That's nice.
An 18 is not bad. She turns to you and she says,
This may be, and perhaps my gods were hasty as well. Nonetheless, you entered our home unannounced with weapons and killed 2 of my people. No matter how you may try to twist this, elf, you are in the wrong here. Why did you come into our home?
Anybody else want to answer that question?
I mean, at this point, I guess we could be like, look, we know there was some lizard folk that was peddling some slaves, and we were just trying to see if we could figure out where the slaves were going. Oh, I didn't realize I was muted there. I was sitting there talking. I was saying at this point, we might as well just say, like, we know there's some lizard folk peddling some slaves, and we were trying to figure out where the slaves were going.
okay, so you say that? You say that, Gardane?
What do you guys think?
I say you can go ahead and say that because it is true. I would add on that we were looking for shelter. Just so that we, like what we said before, isn't like a complete lie.
Yeah.
What time? Yeah.
We could just be like, look, to be, quite frank, we know there was some activity in this area of slavery. We don't exactly know who. We just know there was some activity of slaves being peddled. We were sent on a quest to see if we could find out information, and in which case we stumbled upon this cave and thought it might make good shelter.
Okay. So, there's a lot to unpack there. What exactly? Yeah, that was a lot. Okay. So, she looks angry at that statement. She stands up from her throne and she says,
You accuse us of slavery?
No. I never said it was you. I said,
What impudence is this as you step into my hall before my throne and throw such accusations around?
I never said it was you guys. All I said was we know there was slavery in the area, and we were sent to investigate.
And we were looking for shelter when we found this cave.
Okay. So, Gardane, you're going to give me persuasion, and then Myra, I need a deception, because that is technically not true. You weren't really looking for shelter. I know you're trying to be consistent with your previous lie. I get that, but it's still a lie nonetheless.
I actually believe it to be true because all of us were on low health. So we all were trying to find a place where we could rest, and the only reason we didn't do a long rest is because it wasn't late enough and we didn't have a place to set up camp. Just saying. It is a partial lie. Also roll deception though.
Alright, okay.
We got shelter.
so a 14 and a 13. Those aren't awful rolls, but you're also kind of on thin ice right now with these people, and they are not happy.
You say you are sent? Who sent you? And why?
She's looking at you, Gardain.
People who are worried about family members and friends being peddled into slavery.
That is no answer. Who sent you?
A mixture of dwarves and humans and people and elves who are worried about their people being enslaved, which is also not a lie.
You speak in vague generalities.
And she sort of waves, and you see the guards. They're just taking a step closer.
I feel like if her common isn't good enough to understand what area there's slavery in the area and jumps to like us accusing them of slavery, then her English shouldn't be good enough to understand us being vague. That's just me. I'm just being difficult. Just ignore me. Sorry. I'll shut up.
You're fine. No worries. So, yeah, some of the guards encroach a little bit more closely. They don't seem to be very happy with how things are going at the moment.
You will speak plainly or not at all, dwarf.
And then she looks to the rest of you.
I'm gonna look at her and say, so what answer do you want us to give you? What the dwarf says is true. It is not just one person who has sent us. It is many people who are concerned that have sent us.
Many people tells us nothing. Who? Where? Why?
Citizens of Seaport.
She seems to be wanting specific.
So
She seems to be wanting specifics.
it might be faster if you tell us specifically who, why, and where you don't want. Like, who are you worried about having sent us? Because if we know that, then we can tell you if they were among those who asked us to come, or if they were not.
I will speak of no such things, for you may very well be in league with those whom we wish to avoid.
We come from.
They happen to be
Truthfully, you will speak truthfully and plainly.
those
Or
that
you
you,
may return to yourselves.
those who you do not want us to come from. Are they among elves, humans, or dwarves?
She doesn't seem very happy with your questioning of her. And she basically, she's going to respond by saying,
I am asking the questions and you will answer them.
Well, in that case, I'd just be like, look, we come from, it's Seaport, right? Saltmarsh, that's right, yeah. We come from Saltmarsh, and there is a group of people concerned about locals being caught and peddled into slavery. And so the citizens of Saltmarsh have asked us to try and investigate.
She turns to sort of her advisor at that. Roll me persuasion. I know you're being truthful, but nonetheless, roll persuasion to see how well this is going to be received by her here. Okay. Is that the 14 that just came up?
Yeah, I rolled 14 twice in a row.
Okay. That's why I questioned, like, wasn't the last one a 14? She turns to her advisor, and they seem to have a conversation, again, in Draconic, going back and forth in hissed tones.
Saltmarsh, you say? Who exactly in Saltmarsh would send you into our home?
We didn't mean to intrude on your home. We were just coming to the area to investigate to see what we could find. We just happened to stumble upon your home, and unfortunately, things went awry.
Okay. So, about this time, as you are having this conversation and it continues on with the queen, behind you, coming through the two large double doors, you see another lizard folk person through, and he sort of reaches up in a very tired and old sounding voice, but in impeccable common, like better than this queen or any of the other lizard folk, like fluent common. This sort of elderly looking lizard folk sort of raises a hand and says, "My queen, it would seem prudent that we would not act rashly here. Allow me to consult." And he walks forward and sort of hobbling forward with this little cane that he's walking with, past several of the guards, and approaches the queen.
I'm gonna whisper to Shari, like, in Aquan, like, thank God someone here can actually speak common.
And he says,
Sounds of bubbles ring in everyone's ears.
So this-
They're real,
okay.
yeah, that's not normal noise.
so this particular lizard folk, like, he definitely looks older. Like, his skin is kind of sagging a little bit. He's got a little bit of a pot belly sort of thing. His eyes are a little milky, almost like his eyesight might not be great, though he seems to be getting around just fine. You notice as well that sort of like his teeth aren't as sharp as like some of the other younger lizard folk, and they're a little yellowed and whatnot. But he comes up and he seems to be wearing sort of like the vestments of what you might assume to be like a holy person, perhaps, maybe a shaman of some sort for these lizard folk. And he comes forward and he bows before the queen, and he says, "Mighty Arthur Kent, perhaps we are being hasty in our judgments. It seems that these folk have many questions, and so do we. Perhaps this could be a mutually beneficial arrangement if we were to all calm down a little." And he turns to the other advisor who the queen had been speaking with. Says, "Kethos, I know you would oppose, but hear me out, please. There is much trouble afoot at this time, as you well know." And the queen at this point raises her hand to sort of silence him. And she says, "Sariv, shouldn't you be off praying or something? What reason have we to listen to these who come and murder our people in our own halls?" And this elderly lizard folk, apparently sorry, turns to her and says, "Maybe this was all a large misunderstanding. Where is it that you said you come from, friends?" And he turns to you again. Apparently he missed some of the previous conversation. He's asking you where you came from.
We hail from Saltmarsh.
Most recently.
And he says, "As I suspected," and turns back to the queen. "My queen, I know you have been hesitant, but perhaps it would be wise to establish better relations with the locals, given our current situation." And you see the queen sort of pause and look at this older shaman-like lizard folk, and then turn her gaze onto all of you, then back to him. She then turns to the one that the elder one referred to as Earhost, and says,
Earhouse, what think you? Is this a waste of our time? Should we kill them and be done with it? Or is there more to gain?
And he turns to her. He doesn't respond in common. He responds in Draconic, though he appears to understand the common. You get sort of the feeling that he wants to hide things from all of you. And he sort of whispers into the queen's ear. After a moment, the queen turns back and looks upon all of you.
Saltmarsh people from which you hail.
Yes.
I finally speak up, and I'm like, yes, we do.
How so?
And she addresses you directly with that, Shard.
Tell her about the ship we commandeered. It's a good story.
We're friends with a couple of the local lords who will listen to us if we bring them concerns.
You see her again sort of lean next to Irhos and Sarav, and they have sort of a hushed conversation in response to this. And you see that Sarav, the older one, is getting a little bit excited at this prospect. And then he sort of
Perhaps, my queen, this is an opportunity that we must take. I know that the others have told you not to, but this my queen.
And Othokent, she turns from him and seems to ponder for a moment and looks down on all of you.
Perhaps, if what you say is true, elf, we can forgive and move past what you have done. But in order to do so, you must earn the trust of my people. Prove to us that you are worthy of forgiveness and our unyielding trust. And then perhaps you may be a bridge between our two peoples. What say you?
Abby, shh. What do you need, baby girl? Sorry. One sec.
It's okay. Any of you can respond if you want.
How can we gain your trust?
She turns again to you, Gardain. She says,
We will retain your weapons and arms. You see my people before you. You have entered into our home. I will give you 1 day. 1 day. To learn of my people. To meet them. To earn their trust in whatever way you can. If you can do so in that time, perhaps we can make an arrangement. But should you do further violence to my people, or try to escape, there will be no forgiveness.
Well, that's fair enough.
I feel like Dimitri's been too silent through all of this, so Dimitri is going to do something. He's going to stand up and say,
We, the legendary Scions of Darkness, will prove to your people that we are righteous heroes of the darkness.
to which the queen... no repeat performances, sorry. Magician only shows his tricks once. But the queen kind of gives him a very curious look at his behavior.
Says, are we agreed then?
Yes.
Very well. I will allow you to wander freely amongst my people, with guards to watch you, of course. Show to me and to all of them that you are worthy of our trust, and we will move from there.
And then she sort of waves her hands, and you watch as the guards who had previously encroached upon you each back away, giving you a little bit more breathing room, like you had before. And you see at this the elderly Sarov. He seems very excited by all of this. He bows again to the queen.
Oh, yes, yes, of course, my dear queen. You've done the wise thing in this, I am sure.
And he turns to each of you and he says,
You should come and visit me in my quarters while you are here. Perhaps we can discuss further how we could be of mutual benefit to one another.
And then he sort of leans in more closely towards who's up at the front. We got Ashari and Myra. He's closest to Myra, and he sort of leans in close to you, Myra, and says,
Please, for your own sake, tread carefully. There are others here who will not be happy that the Queen has given you this opportunity.
And then he sort of bows and steps back again closer towards the Queen.
Up to that point, sorry, just as a side note for my character, up to that point, my character is going to be looking pretty, like, upset about the arrangement, like, willing to go along with it, but not happy about any of it. Just because from my character's point of view, I feel like it's rude to, like, ask us for trust when they openly attacked and almost killed one of our friends who was trying to translate for us and was defenseless. But hearing that, I will kind of lessen my disapproval of it all and look a little bit more willing to go with it. So, yeah.
Okay, awesome. So he steps back towards the Queen further. He bows again to her and says,
This is wisdom, my queen.
The Queen sort of gives sort of a dismissive wave to all of you. She says,
You are not to go unescorted. One of my men shall accompany you wherever you go.
And the guards sort of part. And it looks like two of these scale shields, sort of these more burly, heavily armed ones, sort of are going to sort of flank you now. Less of a guard than you had before, but still you have guards following you. And you are basically given leave to move, if you
I
wish.
turn, before we leave, I do ask, do the guards with us speak Common and Draconic? How many of your people can speak Common? We don't speak Draconic.
And you almost killed our translator.
The two guards, they actually pipe up themselves, and they, in broken Common, they say,
Yes, speak common. Yes.
Alright, so
and just you get the feeling that these more heavily armored ones are like the leaders and probably the more educated ones as a result. So yeah, these two that are with you can speak broken Common. It's not the best, but you should be able to communicate with them as you go about the whatever it is you're doing here.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we still had a way of communicating.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like trying to earn the trust of people that we can't communicate with is not going to work.
All right, so what are you guys doing then? The Queen has seemingly dismissed you.
Well, I guess we should follow the old dude.
We bow because she's the queen.
Ah, very nice.
Our trust is earning respect. Respect to her.
A couple bows are given. Dimitri does a very dramatic one and backs away like this.
It's enormous. And like maybe come out here.
Yeah, you can go ahead and move your tokens. You guys can move your tokens and tell me what you want to do from here.
Everyone but Dimitri can speak Elven. We can communicate in Elven for a minute.
I was gonna say I'm gonna stick with Ashari.
I'm gonna stick with the wise dude that came in.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna ask him, like, Shall we go and speak how we can be of help to each other?
Okay, so you approach him, and he steps up to you here. He says, "Yes, Master Dwarf. How can I help you?" And what do you say to him?
How can we help each other?
That is a very good question, my friend. What was your name?
I am Gardain Ungart. I am a acolyte of the god Muamon Duathal. At your service.
I see. A god of travel, yes? Amongst your people?
Yes, he is.
I have done much study of other cultures. It is wonderful to meet you. And he holds out his scaly, kind of withered, wrinkly hand.
I take his hand with a smile.
He sort of shakes there. And he sort of says to you, I have matters to attend to here with the Queen. But if you ask one of the guards following you to come to Sarav's quarters, they can take you there later, and I can speak with you more, if you wish.
I would say yes, that would be fantastic. In the meantime, do you have any suggestions of where we could start?
Honestly, I have my hands full at the moment, but simply help the people in whatever way you can. Interact with them, see what you can do. And hopefully that will cause them to look on you favorably, and by extension, the Queen. We can discuss more later, though, if you come to my quarters.
Very well.
And then he returns back to sort of a hushed discussion with Othakent as she sits on her throne still. Then I assume you follow the others out to the
He's
hallway.
like holding the door open, just waiting.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and give you kind of a little bit of a rundown of what this is going to entail. You have 24 hours, as the Queen told you, to basically prove yourself to these people. How you go about doing that is up to you. You can go to different groups of people, talk with them, interact with them, try to help with them in some way. And then ultimately, at the end of all that, I'm going to make a judgment call, and you're going to make a roll of some kind to determine how that goes over. And I'm keeping score. I'm not going to tell you what your score is, or what sort of a score you need, what the target score is. You need to accumulate a certain number of points by the end of this 24-hour period if you want this to go over well. And if you don't, then it's not going to end super great. But yeah, you have no idea what that number is that you need to hit, but by doing things and helping people, you can potentially earn points towards that.
So I turn to one of the guards and I ask if there is like a common meeting area or like a housing development underground, something like that.
So he seems a little confused at some of those words, but he gets the gist. Like
The word housing
normal.
development. I understand development's probably a little bit big. Village. Is that a simpler term?
He sort of hisses at you a little bit as he thinks it over. And first he figures that since he's going to be with you for a while, he actually introduces himself. He says,
I, Veshra, will guide you. We have hatchery and main quarters where many gather. You wish to go there?
A hatchery?
Mm-hmm.
That
said
sounds so adorable.
So that's kind of the gist that he got from what you said. He's like, oh, you want to go where all the people are and where people live? Like, okay, well, the hatchery.
What
sure.
was his name?
He called himself Beshra. Baeshra. Beshra.
Spell that one more time.
Baeshra.
Beshra.
Sure. Okay. I got
Okay.
it.
The other one is named Kothar. Kothar.
Okay, so
I would ask. I'm assuming you're done asking yours. Sorry, I was gonna ask if there's a like a sick bay or do they have like wounded that need tending?
That's a good thought. Which one are you talking to? Because they.
Well, since Ashari was talking to Beshra, I would ask Kothar. I would introduce myself. You know, Kothar, nice to meet you. I am Gardain Ungart. Sorry we met in unfavorable circumstances. Does your people have wounded?
Wounded?
Sick? Injured?
Injured? He seems kind of inquisitive. He seemed kind of like had a little bit of a hiccup when you said your name. He sort of tries to say your name back. God dang. Yes.
Yes, you can call me Dane. It's fine.
What does this mean?
It means awesome dwarf.
He sort of shakes his head a little bit. You get the feeling almost automatically that lizard folk don't seem to understand traditional names in that sort of sense. But he sort of shakes it off. He says, sick, wounded. He thinks a little bit. Says, you all wonder why you were attacked? Yes? Well, you are not the first to come. 2 weeks ago, another, such as yourselves, large with weapons came, sought to ransack our home. We killed them, but many were wounded. I know of one who survived. You wish to help them?
Yes, can you take me to them?
He nods. It looks like he wants to take you in this direction for that. Ashari, though, the other one appears to be indicating in the opposite direction.
I'm
This is
gonna.
about the one time I'm gonna say it's okay to split the party.
Okay.
This is the one time it's okay to split the party. We just have to agree to meet back up.
Okay.
Okay, so who's going with who then? You only have two
following
guards.
everybody.
Okay. So you have Beshra and Ashari and Myra heading on this direction, it looks like. Are the rest of you going with the other one, or is someone else going to go with Ashari and Myra?
Well, Gardain's gonna go with the
I'll
other
go with
one
Gardain.
because he can heal.
Okay. All right. Who does Dimitri want to go with?
We'll take Dimitri.
All right. Dimitri comes along with you.
As I said,
You're
that
the
in a large sigh. Dimitri,
I have to.
It's a love-hate relationship. I think he's ostentatious, but...
Okay. So we'll start with this group
Drives
over
me
here.
nuts.
You guys are led by Beshra through another long set of corridors here. I'm going to go ahead and reveal the passage that they take you through. This may take just a moment. I apologize.
Also, I'd like to with the mention of a hatchery. Just saying,
You
See the babies!
want to see the baby
I'm
lizards?
super excited. Like, I'm imagining like a nursery of some sort of little lizards. Maybe like a preschool or something in there. It's gonna be great.
Who knows? Maybe.
Who knows?
I'm thinking aliens versus predator, so
That would be fun.
It's a little weird. Weird that humanoid brain ends.
that's for sure. Okay, so it's a bit of a walk, as you can see by what I revealed there. As they lead you through a large number of twisting corridors, you pass by several different doors and things along the way. Is there anything you want to do on the trek there, or anything you want to stop and ask about, or anything, or are you just ready to head directly wherever Beshra is taking you?
I am actually going to try to start a conversation with Beshra.
Okay. What are you saying to them?
I am going to ask Beshra if he too has a family with hatchlings.
Mm-hmm. So Beshra looks over their shoulder at you, and again, it's a little creepy because of the way that a lizard folk person's face is shaped, but you kind of see the semblance of what you think might be a smile. And Beshra says, Beshra, proud mother of many hatchlings. Yes.
Female.
Yep. I'm going to show his mind with the same direction as that. Okay. I'm gonna just smile back and be kind of like excited and be like, oh, like, congratulations. Like, you must be a very good mother.
She sort of gives a nod. Yes. Beshra brings life. Yes. And as she takes you through this corridor here, into sort of this wide open cavern, you actually kind of recognize this. You think that this might be the previous entrance that you thought about entering before, but then went around the other direction, sort of a thing. But as you come through it here, you've entered sort of this huge cave on a narrow stone pathway that runs along the eastern portion of the south wall. The pathway connects two tunnel entrances, one in the southeast corner, the other in the northeast. At the far side of the cave is that gaping hole, 30 feet wide and 15 feet high, that leads out into the marsh in the open air. Apart from the stone pathway, the floor is covered with thick mud.
I'm gonna stop and get something to drink. You want anything?
No. Well, Sprite. Can you get some Sprite?
In the mud.
Yeah, do you want me to get like a couple, like a 2 liter? Or?
Yeah, like a couple 2 liters.
Pop out of the mud.
Okay.
As these huge giant lizards respond
Bye.
to the noise of you passing by. And it looks like some of them are charging towards you. What are you doing?
What is she doing?
I'm asking you what you're doing.
I'm looking over. I'm literally looking at her and
I
saying
am
she's
going to jump and take a step down.
Alright. Dimitri sort of like tries to pull up some arcane power in defense, but then Beshra steps forward and pulls out what looks like a strange little wooden carved whistle made out of some kind of a reed, and she blows it and holds up a hand. And a loud shrieking whistle echoes through the chamber, and these giant lizards sort of stop in their tracks and look to her. And she reaches down into a little side pouch, a little satchel that she has, and takes out some chunks of what looks like cured meat. She holds them out and tosses a few chunks to these huge giant lizards. And they snap them out of the air, almost like dogs getting a treat from their master. And Beshra turns and laughs, a really creepy lizard folk laugh. Yes, these ones guard our entrance, you see, but they will not hurt you while you are with me. And she sort of waves the giant lizards back, and they return to each other and sort of mill about. You see a couple of them sort of burrow their way back down into the mud, hiding themselves. A couple of them stay above, though, chewing on bits of the meat that she had brought forth for them. Beshra continues to chuckle a little bit as she continues to bring you forward through this little tunnel here.
I don't react. I have no weapons. And I'm not a magic user. I just wait for her to panic. If she panics, then I'm pulling out the little knife that no one knows I have. It says, use both of our variations with a sword. I will hopefully be somewhat okay with a knife.
a lot of magic.
They all have powers when they're disarmed.
Okay. So Vesha takes you up to this little door chamber here. Goes up to the broad wooden door. Mm-hmm.
As we're walking past here, can I just like peek in and see what's going on over here?
Yeah, sure. She'd let you do that. You sort of stop for a second. Yeah, sure. As you sort of peek your head in here, it looks like some sort of a guard room. It's pretty it's pretty bare for this room. Only like a wooden bench set against one of the walls here. I can reveal the rest of it for you so you can see. And 3 what looks like lizard folk guards with their weapons here, just sort of milling about. They kind of look up and they seem very curious, like they may not know why Vestra is leading these outsiders, and one of them actually does sort of speak up in Draconic. Vestra! And Vestra replies in Draconic as well. It seems to placate them, and they don't get up from their little spots where they were sitting at the table and just sort of let you all pass on by unmolested.
I just want to peek in.
Yep, no problem. Sure thing.
I will ask Vesha if the guards and the lizards are to protect the hatchlings. And the home.
She turns and gives you a nod. Yes, this is it. Yes. We must protect all. The hatchlings especially.
I'm just gonna nod as if like light bulb has clicked. Like, that's why they have so many defenses.
All right. And she finally approaches this door here and pushes it open. I'll go ahead and reveal what you're gonna see in here. Let's see. All right. So, as you come through this door here,
it does look like aliens.
A bustle of activity fills this room. It is very crowded. It's fairly noisy too. All sorts of little noises, hissing and scratching, squeaking noises even a little bit. Over a dozen lizard folk, adults and hatchlings, tiny little ones like 2 foot tall, scurrying about, are mingling and playing here, rolling about in the mud and just having all kinds of fun. It appears to be a large nursery, with adult lizard folk and hatchlings distributed throughout the area in small little groups. The young play or sleep, while the adults chat, drink, and oil their bodies as well. Straw mattresses are scattered around the floor. Wooden tables hold earthenware cups, mugs, pitchers, and clay bowls filled with wildflowers. Chairs sit beside the tables with wooden stools here and there as well. And there's a ton of people. The tokens only represent the adult lizard folk. I don't really have like actual tokens for all the tiny little hatchlings running about. But yeah.
I have a question, DM.
Sure. Yeah.
They untie us.
Yeah, you guys are not bound. You're not bound.
I just wanted to make sure so it didn't like all of a sudden like here.
Oh. They unbound you once the queen gave you leave to leave the throne room. So,
I just don't think it ever went over. Like I'm just not
yeah,
sure
I
how,
didn't.
Like,
I never explicitly said as much. That's my bad. But yeah.
Especially since we made all of our makeshift hand ties.
It's all good.
Just in case.
My character is absolutely ecstatic. Like, I am so excited. Like, just brimming with joy, looking at all these little baby lizard folk. Like, I'm so happy. It's everything I wanted. They're so cute. I can picture it. How adorable it is.
It is super adorable. Also, you do see up at the top of the room there appears to be like another door that leads to another section there. But yeah, the activity here is constant. The kids seem to be having all sorts of fun with their little lizard tails flopping about. Some of them are wrestling. Some of them are having little mud fights. Others are sleeping on their what you would assume is their mother or father's laps and things. It is suitably adorable, albeit scaly and lizardy, but still adorable. And Vestra, she looks to you. Vestra shakes her head. They all are grown now. Proud would defend the roost.
Wow, Bishra, you look so young. I did not know, but of course I would expect you to raise good guards since you are a good guard. And
Roll charisma for me. I love it. Yeah, do it. Just roll a straight charisma. Just click on charisma, yeah.
Which one's charisma?
The last one
there it
is
is.
stats.
Sorry. Took me a moment. I clicked this. Did it pull up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
we're
did
good.
pull up. It did not roll as high as I'm actually feeling it, but that's okay.
It's all good. It's all good. It wasn't super high because you've kind of been buttering her up to this point. It goes over pretty well. You see that she kind of puffs up a little bit in pride, like, yeah, that's right, and sort of gives a little nod, but that's about it from there. But yeah, it seems like your combat went over well. You think you might be winning over Beshra a little bit.
Because, like, winning her over isn't even my goal. Like, I am just gonna, like, say that, and then I am going to look around at all of these kids, and I'm gonna see if there's any that are maybe feeling left out, if there's any where, like, I can help, you know, like, join in with an activity, help with something, yeah.
Sure. Roll perception.
What we could help with.
Yeah, first roll perception, but then if you want to ask Beshra or someone else here, you can definitely attempt that. So roll perception to see if you
Translate for us.
Sure.
I'm looking for someone who looks like they're alone and wants some help, so...
Okay, so with a 13, you look around and you scan about. It doesn't really look like, there's anyone, like, in immediate distress. You do notice in one of the far corners there appears to be one lizard folk kid who's alone, but not, like, sleeping or with, like, a parent or something, just kind of sitting down sort of cross-legged by their lonesome. Hard to tell because they're lizards, like if it's sad or whatnot, hard to tell the gender as well. You're not sure if there's a little boy or a little girl lizard. But it's just kind of sitting there alone. That's about all you get with a 13, though.
Okay. And then I guess with that, I will ask Bishra, Bishra, what do hatchlings enjoy?
What do hatchlings enjoy?
Yeah.
They want to know.
I'm thinking like minor illusion. I want to maybe send like little butterflies or maybe like some dragonflies or something. Just like to see their reaction, to see if it will make them happy.
Pseudo dragons.
So
dragons, yeah.
So she kind of like strokes her little chin there, her little lizardy snout, and thinks a little bit. She says, "Each hatchling different, you know. All are unique. Mine love games of strength, wrestling, chase games, hiding, stalking. Yes, stalking prey. Very good. Each different, though, you know."
I'm sure your kids were really good at hide and go seek. I can see that being a very fun game for them. Okay.
She nods.
With that said, I'll make my way to like the lone kid in the corner.
Okay.
We're gonna have to follow because
so you're getting. Yeah, so you're getting a lot of looks from all these other people, particularly the adults. Now that you've stepped into the room proper, and the presence of a bunch of outsiders is definitely. Oh gosh, what's going on? And the kids, the tiny little lizard folk babies are just like. They're like whispering to each other in hushed little voices and things like that. You get like one tiny little lizard folk kid sort of like runs up behind you, Myra, and is like, and then darts away back behind its parent's leg, sort of a thing. And you see a couple of the adults sort of talk to Beishra in sort of concerned tones, you would assume. Like, you know, you assume they're asking what the crap's going on here. And Beishra sort of responds and puts them at ease, and they sort of relax a little bit, and the hub kind of dies down, and you're allowed to go about your business. But yeah, you're able to make it over to the corner if you want, to approach this lone child if you want to.
Before I get there, I'm actually gonna like take note of the one that like kind of came up behind me and then darted away. I'm gonna kind of like you know, just like squat down so I'm more at their height, and like I'm just gonna smile and just kind of like wave at it, you know, like oh hi, you know.
Yeah, so it peeks back from behind the scaly leg of its parent, and ducks back, and then slowly peeks again, and then.
What's it?
And then waves just a little and hides again.
Okay. Oh, I'm so enjoying this, you guys. Okay.
What was going on when you left?
With that, I'll just like kind of like, you know, like since it.
Were we still fighting?
It doesn't seem quite
brave
brave enough to
Yeah. Well, we got
since I
captured.
don't want to like scare him off.
So now we met with the queen, and we were able to like persuade her with the help of one of her advisors to give us like 24 hours to prove ourselves worthy of like not killing us. So now we have guards walking with us, and we're walking through their like where they live, and we have 24 hours to like
So how about
ways
this?
to like prove
we've left the
ourselves.
two fellas hanging for a bit. How about we switch back to them and see what they're doing with what they're doing. In the meantime, you guys can think about what you want to do here. And just to give you sort of a little bit of context, if you want to make a roll to see if you can earn some points for doing something here, you need to give me a detailed description of what you're doing, whether it is to help, whether that's entertaining the kids or helping them or whatever it is you're going to do here, helping the adults. Give me a detailed description of what you want to do there. It's going to take at least 3 hours of your time to attempt this, and based on what you tell me, it's going to determine whether I give you advantage or disadvantage or whatnot, okay? And then we'll make a roll to see how it goes over. Okay, so you guys can think about that. Mm-hmm.
So this is what I did when I ordered this.
Well, we'll see when we get back to you guys. So just think about what you want to do, whether it's with one kid or a group or the adults, and then we'll get back to you guys in a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
Alrighty, so fellas, you guys were wanting to go check on some injured people.
Yes.
Okay.
I would also, as we're walking with Kothar, I would introduce Kada. Like, oh, Kothar, this is Kada. And I would pat her a little bit on my shoulder.
So Kothar, he kind of looks to the little pseudo dragon. He noticed it before, and he says,
Yeah.
Kada, you say? Yes?
Yes, Kada.
But he sort of looks at it carefully. I'm going to have him make a roll, actually, for this real quick. So, let's see. Let's have him roll a insight check.
Oh, he's rolling.
15, which is pretty good. He turns to you and squints at this little pseudo-dragon. This is not Kada. I know this. This is belonging to my friend. Where did you find Ben's?
I found Ben.
At hearing the word Ben's, the name, the pseudo-dragon actually gets kind of excited, flaps its wings, circles around, and actually perches itself on this lizard shoulder, on Kothar's shoulder, a little bit in an excited way.
I'd be like, oh, well, apparently Ben's we found on a ship.
A ship. This was the pet of my friend, Usk.
Me.
was sent for weapons.
I don't know anything about Usk. I just know we found bins on a ship.
Bims on a ship. He looks very disturbed and troubled by this. How are you getting? This is. I need you to give me like a persuasion check here. He seems to have recognized this creature.
I'm gonna lose my dragon.
This is my friend.
Show him off.
He has been missing for some time. Where are you finding him? What ship? When?
Mom shit.
I don't remember the name of the ship.
Detective mode, like you're trying to help find his friend.
Be like, I am unaware of. I don't remember the name of the ship actually. Dreadwood? No. That was a place we went to. Never mind. Anyway, it was on.
With bad people. Sorry.
I was just gonna say,
You're fine.
it was on a. I was actually captured on a ship, and when I was rescued on the ship, Bims was also on the ship. Maybe Bims was captured as well.
So at this, Bims sort of flies in the air again and returns to you in your shoulder, though, having visited this apparently familiar face. But Kothar looks concerned, doesn't really know what to say other to respond with that. I am hoping Usk will return soon. Perhaps he will be wanting to know where Bims is. It is good you have brought him to us. And then he turns to continue leading you this way.
I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Who knows if Kothar will or not, but yeah, if you guys want to follow him, you certainly can.
Kitty.
Isn't he the one taking us to the sick?
Yes, he is. And Kada, or Bims, whichever you prefer, follows him on.
Kada. It's Kada.
Varys, you're coming along too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he takes you a very short distance, just here, to this little door in front of you, and pushes it open for you here, revealing a large chamber with another door at the far end here. And as you burst through this particular door, with them in the lead showing you the way, this appears to be some kind of a banquet hall. There are 5 unarmed lizard folk who seem to be preparing this area for a feast, setting tables with wood and stone utensils. Several long wooden tables are placed in the end of the center of the hall, with wooden benches running along each side. At the south end of the tables is a large wooden chair. 4 slightly smaller chairs flank it, 2 on each side facing the table. Placed on the tables are earthenware pots, jars, plates, and cups. 5 drinking mugs and woven baskets. Against the west and east walls are tall wooden cupboards. And in addition, you see in the far corner up here what appears to be a couple lizard folk in this little area here being tended to, who appear to have some injuries and wounds, like they've been just sort of holed up in this little corner.
And then I would just ask Kothar if these are the ones that need assistance, and then ask him or her to translate that I am here to help.
Yeah, Kothar would say, "Come," and leads you across the room. Oh, yeah, like that. He stretches out in a strange, grows to huge proportions, and then suddenly shrinks back to normal size before leading you across the way here. And you can see that both of these individuals here, while the others are busy about setting these tables and things like that, they seem to be just sort of licking their own wounds. Some of them seem to be festering, a couple cuts and lacerations on their arms and backs. And
they sort of look to you with sort of scared looks on their faces, not sure what to make of it, and they turn to Kothar and speak to him in Draconic. And Kothar sort of puts them at ease, and he turns to you and says,
These ones were injured when we were attacked a week or two ago. Their wounds fester, though, and will not heal. We have tried to care for them, and they continue with their duties, helping with the kitchens. But they will perish if the infections continue.
Alright, I was trying to see if I had like a cure poison or something. Do they know if it's poisoned or just infected?
So you can make a medicine check if you want to examine these two patients of yours, if you will. And Varys, you of course, you have some healing stuff as well. Oh, a natural 20 on that medicine check. Yeah, it looks like they're infected, like the wounds festered somehow. Like, not like poison or anything like that specifically, but just like a nasty infection on the wounds themselves.
Well, then, okay, so then cure wounds should probably do well enough.
I want to do cure wounds as well, but I want to ask our guide if there's like a leader or someone very, very important that is sick or hurt.
So Kothar sort of turns to you, shakes his head.
No. If you wish to meet the shaman, though, I can take you to them next. They will not be happy to see you, I am thinking, though.
No, we're good.
These are those who were wounded in the most recent attack.
Okay.
I would like to cast cure wounds on them if they'll let me.
Yeah, sure. So if you both want to go ahead and mark off spell slot, you can each cast the spell on one of them. And I'll say that that'll suffice. Technically, it would probably be something more like a restoration spell, but this will suffice for what you're doing here. These aren't super serious.
I can do Prayer of Healing also, or Lesser Restoration.
You can do that as well if you want. Either one will work in this particular context. The divine healing energy from your spells seems to seep in and close up the green skin. You watch as the infection and the pus sort of like fades away, and the skin heals over. And the wounds seem to seal for them. And you get some very grateful looks and surprised looks on these lizard folk as they turn to you and sort of squawk out in their native language what you assume to be some sort of thanks.
You're very welcome. Here's some Motrin and some water. Walk it off.
And it looks like the two of them will continue. They get up after thanking you and are looking to continue to help the others in their duties here and setting up the tables and the plates and things for what you assume would be, some sort of evening meal or whatever that they're getting ready for, and whatnot. They seem to have a lot on their hands.
Well, do they need assistance? I would ask Kothar what's going on here.
And he basically tells you that much.
Yes, dinner for the queen and her advisors, and any guests she will invite. It is a lot of work.
Can we help?
Kothar kind of shrugs and sort of gestures as if, sure, if you want, sort of thing, but doesn't actually say anything. Just kind of leaves it up to you.
Well, alright, I guess I'll help him.
Forks on the right or on the left? I don't know.
Yeah, they take you through the proper etiquette of where to place their forks and things like that. But yeah, you guys can jump right in and helping them set things up, and plates and chairs all put together and things like that. And if you guys want, that can be one of your attempts here to try and gain some goodwill with these commoners here in this area. mark off like 3 hours, like I said, and make a roll for it if you want. Is that what you're wanting to do here?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of you then, I'm going to say that with the healing, the two of them there, you've curried enough favor that I would give you advantage on this particular check. So one of you can make a charisma check with advantage, and we'll see how this goes over as you spend the next several hours helping these people, these lizard folk.
Yeah, we
with their
healed up.
PCUs and whatnot.
How's your charisma?
I have a 1.
I have a 4. Mine's really good.
Yeah, paladins have high charisma typically.
Alright, we'll let you do it.
Huzzah.
Yeah. You're able to get buddy with some of these lizard folk, despite the language barrier here. Kothar helps you to sort of translate things, and they work alongside of you. The two that you heal you can basically tell, even though you don't understand it all, that they're gassing you up with their friends. Be like, these guys are great, I had this bad cut. And he's like pointing to where the scar would have been, and like, I wouldn't believe it. And like, they seem really pleased with what you've done for them, and their influence, plus you helping them with their little chores here, yeah, you seem to have curried some favor with this group of commoners, going about their little chores and things like that. So, well done there. We'll jump back to our other group now, in the hatchery. So, what are you all doing in here? Tell me about what you'd like to do here.
Sorry, do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
Well, like, my best thing is strength, and they like to wrestle.
Just toss them up.
Like, sit on the ground and
Yeah, so
like wrestle with them.
Maybe just sit on the ground and let them kind of tentatively approach you.
Well,
You know, until
But yeah, there's nowhere on here. It just
or,
says.
like what I'm like intending to do,
I'll tell you the
so
size.
that maybe
Well, it says 34
she can
millimeter.
help encourage them. Like I just want
Is
to
that 34 millimeter?
Okay.
trying to help the parents with distracting because I can take a lot.
It's
and
so
Okay.
I can
tiny.
fake wrestle
But
real
there's
well.
no like. I mean, I guess
Alright,
you
so
can
you're
get
trying that. What
an
are you doing
STL,
then,
like
Claire?
if you have a 3D printer,
They'll
They'll, like, do
going to ask.
the file for your
I
3D
forget her
printer.
name. I always
Well,
have
you
to like
see
re-look
the
at
3D
it.
printer.
Sestra.
That's I really want one actually. I've been looking at CNC. There's a CNC machine
The
you
one
can
in the
get
corner is by themselves.
that is it's called Snapmaker.
She sort of turns and follows your gaze to the corner.
and it has a
sort of
3-in-1, so
tilts
it's
your
3D
head.
printing.
It's almost like a dog when
CNC
you think the
and
dog's
laser
listening to you.
engraving.
So like,
But it's not very big. It's only
gives back and forth, looks at that one.
See,
She sort of gives a little bit of a
so
shrug.
it supposedly does like all 3.
Maybe this one is more of a thinker than fighter.
Because that little guy would be badass.
And sort of shrugs,
Yeah.
but she doesn't
Like,
seem to know definitively.
Twice the size of this.
That's her answer to
basically.
you there.
I mean, the details are really cool.
Okay.
It's just
Then with that, I will go
Go.
and kind of sit next to it. Not like super close. I'm not gonna like try to scare it away, but just like a good distance. And I'm gonna kind of look at it, and then look at kind of what it was like looking at.
Maybe
I
we
guess
can
what I was
paint it.
observing. And then
I don't know if I want to because it's so small.
I'm gonna look back at it and kind of like
it would.
smile.
And I guess dangerous.
It's a little porous.
She makes a good point. So
Don't
yeah,
be afraid to teeth. It's considered predatory.
Like, yeah.
Predator
like,
animals
your face
don't
would be
bear
really hard.
teeth unless they mean to be threatened.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of detail, but
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
one of those
Then-
Well-
Out.
Myra wouldn't know that. Myra wouldn't know that. So Myra does it anyway.
Technically, I have met lizard folk before.
It's true.
And the other
So
lizard
there's a ton
folk
of
have
detail on
smiled
Yeah.
when they were happy. So,
This is true. It is
I think
creepy.
it's fine.
Their smiles are creepy,
I wouldn't
but
be
yes,
able
you
to
have.
do a good job at it.
All right,
No,
so
Magnifying glass.
so
Yeah.
go ahead. Yeah. Or
Oh,
say.
no, you can say what you want to first. It might affect what I'm gonna do next.
Yeah.
So he doesn't seem to be looking at anything in particular. It almost looks like they're lost in their own thoughts a little bit, just sort of sitting there kind of contemplatively. Occasionally glancing at the other kids and what they're doing, but then sort of going back with sort of a 1,000-yard stare, almost like this one's lost in their own thoughts.
Can you make this bigger?
Now I am a little bit at a loss as to what to do.
And then Ashari, Beshra, she sort of sees you sitting on the ground, sort of trying to encourage them. And after watching you for a few minutes, and she sort of...
Before I sat down, I explained to her what I kind of wanted to attack.
And she lets you try, and she sort of gives you an opportunity to do it yourself, and you sort of see her give kind of like a lizardy sigh, and sort of like and decides she's gonna help a little bit, and she sort of says something to some of the kids that you see, running around and playing a little bit in Draconic, and sort of beckons some of them over and sort of nods in your direction. And at that time, about 3 of these little ones sort of tentatively sort of scamper up to you, sort of giving you some strange looks. One of them flicks out his little tongue. And they're sort of just like, and then they look to Beshra for a little bit of confirmation. She's like,
they can practice pouncing if they want to.
So
do you tell her
tugging on your ears and trying to scratch your hands. You look so weird.
Lizard people.
So you tell that to Beshra though, like you're wanting to let them wrestle, basically. Is that what you're wanting? Okay, yeah. If you express that to Beshra, she will sort of turn to them, and she'll be like, and then point to you, and then and she sort of minds it out for them while also saying something in Draconic that you can't make out. And you see. You really do. Like it's almost like 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 a Zazu. You are Zazu currently, and Simba is about to pounce. Exactly. It's exactly what happens. It takes a little bit. You turn your back and you're acting all casual, pretending like you don't see them, and then suddenly you have 3 tiny lizard folk on your back. They're kind of like biting at you, but it doesn't really hurt because their teeth are really small and nubby right now. It's a little pokey and whatnot, but they're climbing over. They're like pulling on your arms and things, and like play wrestling with you. Yeah, they've gotten into it, and all of the adults now are kind of watching. Like this has caught most people's attention here in the room. And some of the other little lizard folk kids are like kind of cheering them on. They're like, one of them grabs a little stick.
Pretend to be injured like lions do.
Yeah, exactly, precisely. And like one of the ones on the sideline like picks up a little stick and like raises it like a little spear and like throws it, and it like hits off of your leg, and like all the kids are like super happy, just playing and rolling around and stuff. Yeah. And that goes on for quite a while, as long as you want, basically. These kids are switching in and out as more of them. For sure. What about you, Myra? What are you doing?
Has the one that I'm sitting next to taken notice of my existence?
You figure that it knows that you're there. It's giving you a glance or two, but doesn't seem to be taking too much of a mind.
Okay. I am going to use minor illusion.
Okay.
And just like in the palm of my hand, I'm just gonna create some different things. I want to see if I can kind of communicate with them.
Sure.
Maybe also like a dragonfly, then maybe a tree, have it be all pretty and kind of grow and sprout, and maybe show a lizard, like a lizard, soldier or something, just to see if I could get any sort of reaction from them.
Oh yeah. So you do these these series of images over and over, sort of putting them out here, and it does get this little one's attention. They sort of get out of their own little sort of mind trap, whatever they're doing, a little dazed look, and they turn to you, and their eyes just get huge, these yellow lizard eyes, and there's like it's still weird because it's a little lizard face, but it's still like the glee of a young child seeing magic for the first time, right? And it's sort of like it gets on like all fours and skitters like a normal lizard and comes right up to you and then stands up and sort of like gets really close to the illusion and sort of like puts its little claw through and sort of looks up at you. A couple of the other kids have noticed as well, and some of the adults too are looking at the tiny little bit of sorcery that you produced in your hand here, including this one here that seems to be guarding the door. He sort of like steps forward and looks at it really curiously. You get the impression that magic may not be super common amongst the lizard folk per se. Maybe a little bit here and there, but nothing like what you're showing off so casually to these little ones. But everyone who's looking at it seems rather delighted.
With that said, I'm going to make the illusion kind of go into like a little ball of light, and then it's going to like kind of shatter into like a bunch of little butterflies that are going to go different directions.
Oh, I love it.
Kind of like kids going after bubbles, effect, only with like these little illusionary butterflies just kind of like floating around for them to kind of like try to taste and catch.
Yeah, and they 100% do. Yeah, you see both the one that you were focusing on and some of the others who had gained, had sort of noticed what was happening. They're running around and jumping on top of each other. One of them tries to climb up on one of the adults to reach one of the little things, reaching out to try and grab at the illusionary butterfly thing as it's floating away and all that. Yeah, it seems to be going over really well. Partway through your little display, there is like another lizard folk that sort of comes out from this door here, and the door kind of slams open, and they let out sort of a little cry in Draconic, and they hold up what looks like a newborn, like literally, possibly barely hatched little lizard folk baby, and is sort of presenting it proudly at the precipice of this doorway, and all of the adults, the kids don't really seem to care, but all of the adults sort of turn over and sort of give out like a little cheer, sort of a thing, congratulating the new one. And they sort of bring it back down and say a few more things in Draconic to some of the others, get some words of what you assume would be congratulations, and then turns back around and heads back through the store.
What an acting job.
Right?
Beishra seems rather pleased with whatever it is you're doing.
That's good. I'm like distracting. What's Dimitri doing?
Dimitri's just playing along. He's kind of being more aloof, being mysterious in the background. I'm just assuming Dimitri's not really a kid person. So he's just kind of observing you guys doing this. Brooding darkly. We'll
At
say.
this point, I'm probably pinned by at least 10.
Yeah, definitely. Is there anything else you want to do, or
hunted.
is there anything else you want to do? You guys want to make a roll?
I don't really have any other skill sets, and charisma's not my bonus.
Okay.
I will ask Beshra if the adults need help with anything before we move to the other rooms.
So she listens to you, nods, and she actually goes around and asks what the others
Wearing
think.
out.
And she, after discussing it with some of the other adults there, there's always cleaning to be done after the little ones.
Lizard poop.
Baby diapers.
Lizard poop.
I'm gonna call to Shari and like awkward and be like, hey, oi, they need help cleaning.
Sounds like lizard poop to me.
Great, let's get these guys to drink first though.
Yeah, you know what? You just keep distracting.
I'm just
sure.
Just
Yeah.
leave that playing until
And
like,
that's-
it's time for them to all go to sleep.
They're probably pooping all. They probably don't wear diapers or anything, so they're pooping all over
this
you.
whole thing is taking roughly 3 hours roughly.
Oh, there's definitely poop on you.
You can make a roll. You spend that time playing with the kids, and after time, some of them get tuckered out and get down for a nap or something. And then, you get the opportunity to do some cleaning, helping to put away some of the little sticks and toys that the kids are playing with, and maybe cleaning up some of the excrement and little accidents that have been left around and things like that.
Probably all
And
over
the adults seem very grateful for all that you're doing there in that regard. Let's see.
Dimitri helps clean.
Yes, you get Dimitri.
If he doesn't help, I'm prodding him.
We'll say that Dimitri definitely,
Dimitri's gotta do something.
grudgingly lets you do that.
I can see the
You see
music
it came
trying
with this
to like
guy also
impress
that
the
had
kids,
the
and the kids
Eldritch
just being like,
symbol.
I don't know what you are, but sure, whatever. You're interesting.
Let's see here. So
I'm impressed with the sea elf rolling in the mud with them.
So, Ashari, I think that they would probably ask you, since you interacted with a lot of the kids and stuff, but during the cleaning process, they do actually take you up to this door here and into this second room up above, and it asks you basically to dispose of something within there. So if you want, you can move your token up in there.
Sure.
But basically, in here, it is discernibly warmer. And there's kind of a slightly fetid odor that wafts from within. The floor of the room is mud, smooth and unbroken, except near the door, where 3 tiny reptilian shapes crawl along what look like egg fragments. And you see other unhatched eggs, a bunch of little eggs all over this place. So this seems to be the actual hatchery for some that are being incubated. And they...
I'm a little bit more hesitant because I'm a bit of a klutz.
But basically, they ask you to take some of the broken eggshell fragments and things as part of the cleaning and everything like that. And once you've finished, you dispose of it fairly quickly and easily here. And with that, one of you can make a charisma check with advantage. I think you've earned the advantage with everything you did here. I think it all went over pretty well. So go ahead and give me that roll there.
I have a +4 charisma. What do you have?
You're doing it.
Okay.
I have a 1.
Okay.
Not
well,
your time.
keep your fingers crossed that I roll well.
Oh.
Okay. All right. So you get a lot of smiles and a lot of thank yous and things like that.
Sorry,
Yeah.
My +4 let me down.
Hey, it happens sometimes. Tough rolls. The kids, though, seem to love you. The kids just absolutely
have all
love
the
you.
adoration of the children.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so I think we've gone past our normal time. I think that's probably a good spot to end today. Group's got a chance to interact with some of these lizard folk and see how it went. And we'll pick up there at our next game, where you'll continue, I don't know, what do we call this? Your goodwill tour amongst the lizard folk, trying to gain some favor, get them to like you guys and not kill you. Alrighty.
Check this out. I got a figure of my character 3D printed.
Hey, that's cool.
That's awesome.
You can't really, it's not focusing, but it's a little dwarf with a beard and travel pack and a hammer, and he's casting a spell on the other hand.
That's really cool.
And send it in the group chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Please do.
I'll do that.
That's really cool, man. Can't wait to see it. But yeah, so if we go with our normal schedule, next game should be Saturday the 16th, 2 weeks. Same time as usual. Sound good for everybody? Is that going to work?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Fantastic. Thanks for playing, guys. Hope it was fun. I had a good time. We'll see how this turns out for you in our next session.
Take it easy.
Night.
Sorry, Spaghetti Boy.